Discover amazing prizes every week at winhappy.com, where there's always something huge up for grabs. From the latest tech to life-changing cash prizes and more. And get 25% off online entries with the code PODCAST. Don't miss out. Head to winhappy.com. The next big winner could be you. T's and C's apply. Promo code valid online only until July 7th.
Win big. Win happy.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Trywire.com. Kick high prices to the curb. Drive away with huge savings. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a huge day of Scottish football for Celtic. It's all about that cup final in a couple of weeks, but first Hibs come to the east end of Glasgow. There's real jeopardy at the bottom. St Johnstone could exit the top flight today. They're at home to Ross County, and Kilmarnock Dundee has its own set of nerves attached. There might be a bit of a dead rubber between Hearts and Motherwell, but plenty to play for in the top six between Dundee United and St Mirren. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me today you have Gordon DL, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
And Mark Wilson, congratulations to begin with. A night of highs and lows in Ayrshire. The high was a semi-final place in the playoffs against Livy. Starts on Tuesday at Firhill. The low was Jamie Lowe, 17 years old, Partick Thistle debut, and star turn on the night. A big future lies ahead. So, will Brendan Rodgers turn to Celtic's youth in any way today against Hibs? The cup final is still 2 weeks away, and the title is already won. Why not? Andrew McLean will let us know shortly. But as you say, Gordon, one thing is for sure: if St Johnstone lose to Ross County in Perth, they are down and out. And don't come crying to me if it's not Simo Valakari but Simo Harikari, because Ross County 6 defeats in a row, and St Johnstone have home advantage, and if they win they could go 3 points away from Ross County and put the pressure on Don Cowie. I'm looking forward to this.
It's going to be magnificent this afternoon. Stories everywhere in the top half and the bottom half. Celtic obviously with the cup final just round the corner. You wonder how they'll approach it. Hibs want to finish the season on a high and certainly finish in third place. And then you look under that, Dundee United, St Mirren. St Mirren, realistic opportunity if they win there at Tannadice, are catching Dundee United while they're trying to catch Aberdeen. But the bottom half, from 9th down, nerves everywhere.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think everybody looks at the top six. For me this afternoon it's all about the bottom four, I would say. I think that'll be by 5 o'clock decided what way the bottom four is going to go. A lot of important games. Then you look down the leagues. You've got the playoffs in the Championship as well. You get the playoffs in League One. And I'd like to wish East Kilbride all the very best near the League Two playoff against Bonnyrigg Rose.
And seriously, it would be wrong of us to go any further without doubling up on Hugh's congratulations. This man, Mark Wilson, walked in here like, you know the scene from Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio with the arms outstretched. That's what he was like this morning. People falling over him, trying to congratulate him. I'm sure you've been in touch. I'm sure you're delighted for your co-worker, your best friend.
Yeah, I was over him. I've got to say, I watched the game. I watched the game until they took the lead. And then I've got to, as honest as I'm standing here, I thought, right, I'll put the telly off, I'll wake up tomorrow morning and probably hope here I've scored 2 late ones, but it didn't happen for me.
You know his first words? He didn't text me or anything last night, so I thought he must have a big congratulations message when he comes in. He comes in and he goes, oh, how bad were you last night?
I've got to say,
sums him up.
Honestly, look, I'm over him for him. I'm wishing him all the best for Livingston as well. It's a long road, showed a lot of character, and I think Hugh points out, young lad there, had to be thrown in at deep end, 17. We've all been there, and sometimes somebody just has to believe in you. Mark, being a fellow fullback, looked at a young boy, believed in him and Brian Graham. Brian Graham's doing it on the park, Mark Wilson's doing it off the park. Great double act.
No, seriously, congratulations.
Yep,
you were trying your hardest to stay composed. You barely even cracked a smile, which
what about that?
Was annoying me a wee bit, but you must have been delighted.
Of course I was delighted, because you work in things, and any coach or manager will tell you that you hope that they turn out to be the way that it did last night, and it certainly did. The boys followed the game plan at work, but the players were magnificent. But at that time, you're then thinking about the next one. You're then thinking about the players that were injured, that we lost. So our squad is incredibly stretched. So I enjoyed last night. Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, because Livy games are going to be difficult.
I have to admit, when the electronic board went up 7 minutes added on, I lost my bottle.
I turned it over.
You bottle red.
Were you too nervous for
Turned it
your
over.
pal?
I went on to Sky Sports News and just watched the info bar. Ayr 0, Partick 2. Ayr 0, Partick 2.
You're more of a teletext man. CFAX.
I thought it was his bottle of red. I was expecting this man to run on and copy Lenny. You know what I mean?
Aeroplane.
By the aeroplane?
Yes.
Oh, listen, my knee was sore. I did a hill walk in the morning, so my knee was a bit sore. So
what a great story though. 17-year-old Jamie Lowe, never even been in a squad before.
No, but
and you've obviously you were the 18s head coach before, so you had him. Just incredible.
Well, you know what, I was telling Hugh his story earlier on. So probably about 18 months ago, something like that, playing boys club football. And the club, the scout at the time, brought him to Partick. Boys club football. He came, he had to bide his time to get into the 18s, and he's done terrifically well. I was saying to him, it's not as if he hadn't had any real experience. He played against Hadji. Remember, I was telling you, we played against Rangers B team. Hadji was bombed out, and he played left back against him, did a good job. So he had that kind of experience. But to go into a game of that magnitude and play the way he did was unbelievable. And of course, the assist in the first 5 minutes certainly settles his nerves. So well done to him. But the rest of the boys as well, incredible effort.
And what about your co-manager? 37 years of age, holds pretty much every position at the club simultaneously. 100 goals now for the club in just over 200 appearances.
It's just an amazing return from a player. But you think everything that's added to his shoulders at the minute, and the stress that he's under as well, but to contribute to that level in the pitch, I mean, he's certainly the difference maker in the big games. But it's his overall contribution. I was saying last night, he's 37, he's fit as a fiddle. The stats, the distances he covers is right up there as well. So a magnificent player.
Is that just 100 with Partick, or is that
100 with Partick
in just over 200
what
games.
do you make of that?
Well, I was 200 odds, but I make double.
Anyway, plenty more to come from Mark giving us the inside track on last night's playoff drama. Well done to Partick Thistle and all involved, but we've got big fish to fry in the 3 o'clock games. Let's go to Celtic Park and speak to Andrew McLean.
Yeah, Celtic return here to Celtic Park for the first time since becoming champions this season. They got a hero's welcome outside when the team bus arrived, and they'll be getting exactly the same when they take to the pitch as well a bit later on for their warm-up and for when the game kicks off as well. Brendan Rodgers says the focus now is on making sure they're at their absolute best come the 24th of May when they face Aberdeen in that Scottish Cup final to try and clinch another treble. Some of that will come from resting players, and some of that will come from just trying to win these final 3 league matches in style and go into that game in the best possible form. Hibs, of course, the visitors today, their full focus is on making sure that they finish third in the Premiership. So much hard work has been put in by David Gray and his players over the last few months to get them from the bottom of the table into pole position to finish in third place now, but it's about finishing the job. They got that good win against Dundee United last weekend. Can they cause a shock here today to try and take a step closer to that third place? As for team news, 3 changes for Celtic from that 1-1 draw at Ibrox last weekend. Oyami Sinisalo drops out, which means Kasper Schmeichel is back fit and back in the team. Cameron Carter-Vickers drops out as well. Brendan Rodgers told us last weekend that he is one of the players that's going to be managed. He's got a bit of an issue, an ongoing issue, so they'll manage that over the next few weeks, so he's ready for the Scottish Cup final. James Forrest drops to the bench as well, so in come Schmeichel, Trusty and Kuhn, who's back in the squad. So Kasper Schmeichel, as I mentioned, in goal. The back 4, Anthony Ralston, Austin Trusty, Liam Scales and Greg Taylor. The midfield 3, Callum McGregor, Arne Engels and Rail Hatate, with Nicholas Kuhn and Dyson Maeda either side of Adam Ida. The substitutes: Sinisalo, Yang, McCowan, Schlupp, Nawrocki, Kenny, Bernardo, Forrest and McCardle. Just the one change for Hibs, probably going for a bit more of a solid midfield than they did against Dundee United last time out. It's Junior Hoylett who drops out of the starting lineup, and in comes Josh Campbell. So Jordan Smith continues in goal for them. It's a back 3 of Warren O'Hora, Rocky Bushiri and Jack Ardale. The wing backs: Chris Cadden on one side, Jordan Abita on the other. The midfield 3, Nectar Triantis, Josh Campbell and Dylan Levitt, with Martin Boyle supporting Mikola Kuharevich up top. The substitutes: Bursic, Miller, Ekpiteta, Alasana, Nicky Cadden, Bowie, Mariah Welsh, Hoylett and Gale. The referee at at Celtic Park today is Colin Stephen. The VAR is Kevin Clancy.
Well, Mark Wilson, Brendan Rodgers promised changes in game time for various players over the next few weeks. If that's going to be today, then it's certainly going to have to be from the bench, because that's pretty strong from Celtic.
Well, very strong. He obviously wants to keep in the right frame of mind these players focused and keep ticking over towards the cup final. Must admit, slightly surprised at one or two of them, especially Schmeichel coming in. Might have thought, like we were discussing there, Sinisalo may have stayed in today and he might have introduced Schmeichel further down the line or closer to the cup final. Interesting to see Kuhn back as well. So shows he's not taking this game lightly at all. He understands what Hibs are, but he's wanting to finish the season out in style.
It's a hard school under Brendan Rodgers. Schmeichel, we had a talk last night about who might be the cup final goalkeeper. Well, there's absolutely no doubt now. Schmeichel back in today after Sinisalo did very well against Rangers at Ibrox last weekend. Also on the bench you get young Sean McArdle and Johnny Kenny, and that's it. No places for B team players. No Jamie Lowe type story from last night available at Celtic Park this afternoon. That's a very, very strong Celtic side, and as I say, you don't get a free pass into the first team under Brendan Rodgers.
Not even the youth. We touched on midweek. It's hard for those youth players to even bypass the squad players or the guys on the bench. But no Bernardo, McCowan, you would have thought might have got a look in, but not today.
I think he's just keeping everything ticking along. Look, everybody would say, well, he's running the risk of a couple of injuries to big players. His biggest player is Callum McGregor, and Callum McGregor fit, plays every game, nail every single minute. So Brendan Rodgers, to me, isn't the type of manager that wraps people up in cotton wool. Obviously, Carter Vickers, he's had a few injuries, whatever it may be. He's got Trusty there to come in. Johnson's been the same, niggly injuries. I totally take that on board. You look at that midfield three, it'll be the midfield three that, if fit, probably starts the cup final. You look at Kuhn coming back in. Maeda, you could easily say, well, going to be player of the year, get him out there quickly, keep him wrapped in cotton wool. Brendan Rodgers doesn't do that.
Is there a balance, Mark? Because he does still have the game midweek and he still has the game next weekend. So yes, you want to wrap players in cotton wool, but you can't take all your best players out now and leave them off it. Yeah, 3 games before a cup final, because then they don't go into it in peak condition either, surely.
A good point. That's a good point. And some players are different though. Some players probably need that constant action just to keep ticking over. I even see it myself when you're trying to allow boys to recover and they're wanting to do full sessions. And maybe some of that Celtic team are like that. But some of the ones that have played must be 50 plus games this season, you would think this is an ideal opportunity, these couple of games, and maybe give them the game the week before the cup final. I've seen that done as well, so you're still ticking over the week before.
Going to go right from the top right to the bottom, because a whole different atmosphere at McDermott Park. St Johnstone against Ross County. Roger Hanna's there for us.
Well, there is a whole different atmosphere at McDermott Park today, and it's one of nerves, anxiety and trepidation. Gordon, as you said at the top of the show, St Johnstone will be relegated if they lose to Ross County here today. They've been favourites for the drop for months, even before Simo Valakari arrived in town to replace Craig Levine. But a home defeat to the Staggies at McDermott Park will end a 16-year spell in the Premiership, the longest ever stay in the top flight for St Johnstone. They've suffered 4 straight defeats since that incredible win here against Celtic last month, and they are now entering last chance saloon. A win would take them within 3 points of County, who have lost 6 in the spin and scored in only 2 of those games, and that would take the survival fight on to Tynecastle on Wednesday night, while Don Cowie takes his side to Dundee, who could still be in the shake-up. County themselves, they've only survived, as you know, through the playoffs in each of the last 2 seasons. Gordon beating Partick Thistle, then Raith Rovers. It could be the Jags again, of course. Well done, Mark. But they will need to rediscover some kind of form, County, if they are to enjoy a 7th straight season in the Premiership next term. A win today and a Dundee defeat at Kilmarnock would put their destiny back into their own hands, but they haven't won in 6 games against St Johnstone, and they've taken only 1 point from their last 4 trips here to Perth. St Johnstone manager Valakari, he once went down with Tromsø in Norway, but he's staying in Perth next season despite interest from HJK Helsinki in his Finnish homeland this week. And in his programme notes, Valakari lays it on the line. He says, we must give absolutely everything today. There are simply no other opportunities penalties after today. We must do the business. The players he's asked to do the business, he's made 3 changes from the 2-0 home defeat to Kilmarnock. Curtis, Holt and CDB come in for Carey, Griffith and Kirk. So that means it's Andy Fisher in goal. It's the back 3 of the skipper, Spence Brangler, with Daniels, Balodis and Barry Douglas. Then Sam Curtis, Jason Holt, Elliot Watt and Taylor Stephen, with Josh McPake supporting the front 2 of Adama Sidibe and Uche Ikpeazu on the bench. Sinclair, Griffiths and Kucherai, Carey, Franchak and Duke McKenna, Kirk, Kimpioka and Clark. As for County, 4 changes from the 3-1 home defeat to Hearts last Saturday. In come Nightingale, Lopata, Nisbet and Phillips. Out go Tompkinson, Brown, Kenny and White. And that means a first start for Will Nightingale since a 6-0 defeat to Rangers at Hampden back in August. After that he suffered a knee injury and he is just back. So they go Jordan Amisa in goal, back 3 Will Nightingale, Casper Lopata and Zach Ashworth. Across the middle, Akil Wright, Conor Randall the captain, Josh Nisbet and George Harman. And it's an attacking front 3, Kieran Phillips, Ronan Hale and Alex Samuel all start. On the bench it's Ross, Smith and Effetti, Brown, Campbell and Kenna, Robson, White and Tompkinson. The ref is John Beaton. The VAR is Greg Aiken. The sun is shining on Perth. Simo Valakari, better hope, is still shining at 4:45.
Now just above that, with a bit of relegation pressure on, is Kilmarnock against Dundee, but throw into the mix, Fraser Wishart, a bit of good old managerial speculation as well.
Yes, there is, of course. Derek McInnes, as you saw him earlier, waved to him, but speculation is that he will be the Hearts manager next year. I think people have stopped taking bets on that, but whatever holds for next year for Derek McInnes, he's got to see Kilmarnock safe from the dreaded playoff before he leaves, because I think as Gordon was saying, is a bottom 4, 3 games in a week will decide who goes down and who is in the dreaded playoff. And Kelly had a worrying slump from mid-February. 1 point in 5 games. They fell from a top 6 challenge to fighting against a drop, but the players have reacted well. 3 wins in 4 games means a win today and they should be safe. Big win last week against St Johnstone means they can't be automatically relegated, but they must have given everyone at the club a lift. With County playing against St Johnstone, a win for the Dingwall side plus a defeat here for Kilmarnock would see a nervy last couple of games. And they've had a season punctuated by injuries, red cards. Key players like Stuart Finlay, Kel Vassell are back at a critical time. Derek McInnes has a strong squad to choose from, an experienced bench. With Dundee's problems, we've talked about it often in this programme, have been the number of goals they concede. More than 2 a game on average, which has cost them often. But at the other end though, only the top 3 have scored more goals. So if they can tighten up at the back, we all know they have players like Samuel Murray, Player of the Year nominee, and for a team in 10th place, a brilliant distinction for him. But they can cause Kilmarnock problems with the likes of him and Scott Tiffany. And they do have the 2 bottom teams, the 2 teams below them in the last couple of games. But Tony knows a win today will be a huge step towards safety, with Ross County and St Johnstone playing each other. I think Tony thought they were hard done by last week at Portala's goal disallowed, and I agree, but it was interesting that he chose not to talk about it. I think his total focus is on the job in hand and this vital week for his football club. I think there'll be a lot of goals in this. I think there'll be a lot of as it stands for you guys in the studio, but a good game ahead here at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock are unchanged from the win against St Johnstone last week. They won 2-0, 4-4-2 formation. Kieran O'Hara in goals, Lewis Mayo, Robbie Dees, Stuart Finlay and Corey Ndaba at the back. Dan Armstrong, Liam Donnelly, David Watson, Fraser Murray across the middle, with Bruce Anderson and Bobby Wales as the strikers. On the bench, Robbie McCrory, Rory McKenzie, Kel Vassell, Matty Kennedy, Gary Mackay-Stephen, Innes Cameron, Calvin Ramsey, Marley Watkins and Liam Polworth. 2 changes by Dundee. Clark Robertson and Adewumi drop to the bench, and come Donnelly and Palmer Holden. They look like they've 4-4-2 formation as well. Trevor Carson in goals, Ryan Astley, Joe Shaughnessy, Aaron Donnelly and Ziad Larkesh across the back. Josh Mulligan, Lyle Cameron, Antonio Portales and Scott Tiffany are the 4 midfield, with 2 up front, Seb Palmer Holden and Simon Murray. The subs for Dundee, John McCracken, Clark Robertson, Olwasen, Adewumi, Imari Samuel, Cesar Garcia, Charlie Riley, Finlay Robertson, Scott Fraser and Mohamed Silla. And the ref today at Rugby Park is experienced Don Robertson, and VAR is Gavin Duncan.
OK, plenty to play for between Dundee United and St Mirren. Let's check in there with Dave Galloway.
Gordon, Dundee United have rightly earned plenty plaudits in their first season back in the Premiership, which has exceeded expectations. But victory today would clinch a place in the top 5 and maintain ambitions of securing European football. The Tangerines have, though, suffered back-to-back defeats ahead of this game. St Mirren come here full of confidence following 3 matches unbeaten, including last weekend's win over Aberdeen, which kept their own Euro hopes alive. And a buddy Friday's triumph would cut the gap on their hosts to just 2 points and take things down to the wire. Plenty at stake for both sides then. Let's look at the starting 11s. Dundee United, they make a couple of changes. Trapanovsky and Middleton in for Babunski and Van der Sande. So it's Walton in goals. A back three of Adegboyega, Gallagher and Sevels. In midfield, Strain, Docherty, Sibbald and Ferry. Up front, Dalby supported by Middleton and Trapanovsky. On the bench for United, Richards, Fiorini, Molt, Babunski, Fotheringham, Van der Sande, Payton, Campbell and Cleel Harding. St Mirren, will they make a couple of changes also? Idowu and Boyd Muntz replacing Smith and O'Hara. So Hemming in goals. A back three of Fraser, Gogic and Taylor. Midfield, Ali Biosu, Phillips, Idowu, Boyd Muntz and John. Up top for the Buddies, Mandron and Ayunga. The subs are Minsky, Womono, Yakoviti, Tanzer, Smith, Kilty, McMenamin, Scott and Mooney. Match referee today here at Sunny Tannadice is Stephen McLean, and your man on VAR duties, it's Andrew Dallas.
Not to say it's bottom of the pecking order because it's meaningless, but kind of is nevertheless. It's an interesting scenario at Hearts specifically, and they're up against Motherwell, who are also safe. David Friel is there.
Yeah, Gordon, a bit of a dead rubber as you say, but I think for that reason alone, Tynecastle feels very different to how it did a fortnight ago. I was here when Hearts were booed off after losing their last game here against Dundee on April 26. There was chaos in the stands. Neil Critchley was sacked that night, and I think there was then genuine fears Hearts were in deep relegation trouble. Liam Fox got the phone call that night. He came in, steadied the ship. They beat Ross County last week to secure safety, and I think it's fair to say things are starting to look a bit more promising off the pitch too. Tony Bloom's about to invest £10 million. Jamestown Analytics clearly on board already. Hearts are going to appoint a domestic manager in the coming weeks. As Fraser said, Derek McInnes the clear front runner. He looks as if he is the favourite for the job, and I think he'd be a very good appointment. So for the time being, at least the toxic atmosphere of that Dundee game has been replaced by a bit of sunshine, some smiles. But it's also fair to say demanding Hearts support will be expecting a win today. They don't have a great home record this season. I think the next manager, whoever that is, will clearly need to change that along with many other things. But today's going to be tough against a Motherwell side who can come here with the shackles off, and they're coming in also off the back of successive wins over St Johnstone and Dundee. Michael Wimmer is putting his stamp on the team. They're playing some really nice stuff. 5 goals in the last 2 games. These two teams drew 0-0 a couple of weeks ago. That was the game that really killed Hearts' top 6 chances, Motherwell as well. But I think Motherwell are going to fancy their chances of going one better today. They can play with freedom. Lennon Miller, who was crowned PFA Scotland Young Player of the Year last weekend, he'll take up his usual role in midfield beside Andy Halliday. And Michael Wimmer this morning has admitted Bundesliga clubs are joining the list of clubs looking at him. They've been phoning him for the lowdown on the teenager, and you'd imagine there will be plenty of scouts here today to watch Lennon Miller, so plenty to play for. Just run through the teams for you. 2 changes for Hearts. Craig Gordon has a knock. He's replaced by number 3 keeper Ryan Fulton. This is his first Hearts appearance. The reason for that is that Xander Clark is only fit enough to take his place on the bench. Cammy Devlin also comes in for Blair Spittle. So Hearts are going to line up Ryan Fulton in goals, Adam Forrester, Frankie Kent, Craig Halkett and James Penrice at the back. Middle 3 of George Grant, Benny Beringamy and Cammy Devlin, with Kenneth Fargas and Alan Forrest either side of Lawrence Shankland. Clark, Kingsley, Neuenhoff, Mackay, Steinbender, Cabangu, Danda, Wilson and Khartoum are the subs. As for Motherwell, they've also made 2 changes. Johnny Katrumbis is suspended after his red card last week. Harry Payton also drops out. Steve Seddy makes his first start since December, so it's great to see him back for the Motherwell fans. And Tawanda Maswanisi also starts after his winner at Dens Park last week. So it looks like a 3-5-2 formation for Motherwell. Aston Oxford in goals. Back 3 of Stephen O'Donnell, Dan Casey and Steve Seddon. Tom Sparrow and Dom Thompson expected to be the wing backs, with Miller and Halliday anchoring the midfield and Callum Slattery supporting Maswanisi and Tony Watt in attack. Subs for Motherwell are Balcom, Dravkovsky, Payton, Wilson, Abie, Andrews, Dixon, Armstrong and Tavares. The referee is Ryan Lee and the VAR is Nick Walsh.
Well, that's you then. The scene is set. Big games up and down the country. We'll pause for breath, take a look at some of the other big talking points doing the rounds when we return. Just a quick word from our podcast sponsors, Wire, the best way to own an electric vehicle. Wire is a car purchasing platform that only sells 100% electric vehicles. So they'll walk you through the process of selecting a fully electric car that meets both your needs and your desires.
Wire proved that virtually every car buyer can go electric today. They've got affordable options, saving you thousands on your next car through the Salary Boost scheme. This scheme makes purchasing an electric vehicle a sensible financial decision. Make sure you check out trywire.com for more information and how you can sign up. Now let's get back to the podcast.
A Rayo original podcast.
What's up? We're Jordan and Perry.
Join us on our brand new podcast, Brothers Uncovered, where the two of us and my big bro, Ashley Banjo, play our favourite game, Would You Rather, bringing conversations that are chaotic and sometimes morally questionable.
Check out our Brothers Uncovered podcast now on the Rayo app, Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Duncan are in the studio, the top team around the grounds. We've already given you team news and a scene setter from each. We're reflecting a bit on Partick Thistle's success last night as well. Got a big game in its own way, mostly for Aberdeen on the pitch tomorrow. Roger Hannah, what has this week done or changed or influenced in any way the Rangers fans' minds as to where things are going heading forward? Anything changed?
Even something, Gordon, I'm not too sure anything has changed. As I've said a couple of times in the show, I think the end of the season can't come quickly enough for Rangers. Barry Ferguson spoke yesterday of this sticky situation at Ibrox. Well, it's been a sticky situation for some considerable time, and Hugh said in the show last night it would be a lot stickier if it wasn't for the presence of the 49th Enterprises and Andrew Kavanagh just round the corner. I suspect, Dave King said through the week the deal was 90% done. I suspect it's now 90-something% done. I think it will be announced after Rangers' last game of the season against Hibernian, the days following that game at Easter Road next Saturday lunchtime, and a new era can then begin for Rangers. But everything from the game last week through all the speculation this week and Barry's comments yesterday, it's not changed anything at all, and I actually think there's far more in tomorrow's game for Aberdeen. Jimmy Tilleen, the manager of the month, as you say, with them chasing third place.
Did you read much into various reports this week, David Friel? I think the first one earlier in the week was that any new manager won't have a previous tie to Rangers, which people obviously took to mean really Steven Gerrard, Barry Ferguson, because who else would it include? And then yesterday, I think was it the Telegraph, ran a selection of a long list apparently, which included Steven Gerrard. It was Rob Edwards, Russell Martin, amongst others. Gary O'Neill, Hugh's quite right to point out. Read anything into those?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the long list yesterday, I read the report as well, Gordon. I think it said the long list goes into double figures. Look, I think if Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart and the 49ers Enterprises, Andrew Cavan, all of them, they wouldn't be doing their job if they weren't speaking to people, doing their due diligence, sounded people out, both people in jobs, both people out of jobs. I must admit, I'd be surprised if it's Steven Gerrard. I just don't see it as being a good fit for Rangers. I don't think it's what Rangers need just now. He won the league in his first spell. I don't think, in hindsight, I think he got Rangers European pride back. I don't think in hindsight he probably achieved as much silverware wise as he probably should have. I think Rangers will look elsewhere, and it wouldn't surprise me if they do go British. And I know obviously you've mentioned various guys there like Gary O'Neill and Rob Edwards and guys like that. For me, I would go for Sean Dyche. I've said it all along. I think Sean Dyche is a personality, the identity in his teams, and I think he could handle the challenge, and to me it's the perfect job for him.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I've heard his name coming up a lot of the times over last week there, and interesting, David fancies him. Look, he's an experienced manager, brilliant job with Burnley, heard a lot of good things about him, went into Everton, real difficult job, come under a little bit of criticism for his style of play as well, but I do agree with David in one thing. I think they need some character in there, a strong leader, someone that knows what they're all about, because they're going up against Celtic, they're going up against the quality of Brendan Rodgers. I do agree, I don't fancy Steven Gerrard to come back into the equation. I think that as much as I've praised Barry Ferguson in this programme since the day he took over, bringing everybody together and holding it together, I don't think Barry's the man to take Rangers forward. I think they do need somebody in the mould, whether it is or not, of Sean Dyche.
To a large extent, Steven Gerrard's a myth. There's an innocent belief among some Rangers supporters that Stevie G will make it all right because he won the title when he was here the first time. Well, Stevie G, for me, then went off to Aston Villa, failed. Then went off to the desert, failed. Agreed to take a monumental drop in money that was owed to him to get out of his contract before the team he managed there were in danger of being relegated. And he wanted that not to be on his CV, relegation. I don't think he's a serious contender for Rangers. In the fullness of time, I may be proved correct. But for me, there's a largely mythological status about Steven Gerrard. Sean Dyche, whether it's Sean Dyche, Gary O'Neill, Russell Martin, whoever, but no projects, no experiments. Rangers have to go for a man of calibre.
Would there be any concerns, David Friel, your suggestion of Sean Dyche? Although he's done good jobs, it's maybe never been a team that's had to play on the front foot and had to dominate games the way that you would expect Rangers to do.
Yeah, I understand that, and I can see that side of the argument, but I think his Burnley team probably played better football than maybe people give them credit for. Look, there was a sense of it was very workmanlike and all that sort of stuff, but look, he got Burnley into the Premiership, he established them in the Premier League, and I just feel, as Gordon's saying, I just think he's someone of character, personality, a bit of calibre, and a guy who is ready for the challenge. Look, I don't know if Sean Dyche, I'll be honest with you, I don't even know if he's interested in the job, but for me, where's he going to go in England? Now, I can't see Sean Dyche managing abroad, so where's he going to go? He's not going to get a job bigger than Everton that he had. He's obviously got a past relationship with Kevin Felwell, who appointed him at Everton, so I think it ticks every box.
Fraser, the other side to Barry Ferguson's argument yesterday about it being a sticky situation was for his players. Now, I suppose maybe slightly with your PFA Scotland hat on and knowing what players go through at this time of the year with uncertain futures and so on, how difficult will that be for those who don't quite know if they're staying on or what they're doing? Is there any way around it when you've got a takeover that's pending but hasn't happened yet?
I just don't think there is any way around it, Gordon. Players will have to wait. I mean, we all know managers don't pick the players entirely on their own these days. So Niels Coppin, Kevin Thirlwell, they will have a big say. They're probably putting together a list, but you always think the coach, if it's head coach or manager, should have a say in who comes in and who goes. So yeah, I mean, it happens at every football club. There's always a bit of uncertainty at the end of every season. I think those who are out of contract will probably go. There might be one or two that the club don't want to keep, one or two that might want to leave. It's always the same at every single football club, but sooner rather than later, I think the takeover's got to take place. I quite like the attraction of bringing an Ange Postecoglou type, somebody we've not heard of, as David Steele, somebody with a bit of substance, and Ange certainly had that, but somebody with a track record of playing and dominating games and playing good football. I saw Dominic Tedesco and linked, and also Dan Roll, both linked with Red Bull, who have got a small partnership with the 49ers at Leeds. All these relationships in the background all count, and I've got a feeling it'll be somebody like that, somebody that's not the kind of usual people that are tipped for a job, because I think Rangers just need a revamp, need a reset. Can they go and play a bit more attacking football, a bit more entertaining football as well? And I think you made the point, Gordon, about Sean Dyche. Can they or will they need somebody who's going to be used to dominating games and can take a team to dominate the ball and go and attack teams? Because the problem has been for Rangers this year, they can't beat Sitman and Motherwell when they sit in and defend deep, So fascinating time. But Dave King's saying middle of June, a wee bit worrying, because at that point a lot of transfers are done. The close season doesn't last long these days in football, and all of a sudden after 3 or 4 weeks you're back into next season and planning already, and sometimes middle of June into July is too late.
I'd love it to be Danny Roll, Hugh, purely so that the Rangers manager, one of our biggest institutions, would be half your age. Seriously.
Yeah.
Can you imagine it? Just turned 36 last week.
Well, less than half my age, but we had some fun on the programme last night when
there were some good names.
Mikel Arteta, and that the caller would not be put off the idea that Mikel Arteta was going to be the next Rangers manager. Then it switched to Jose Mourinho.
What I particularly liked about the Mikel Arteta call, though, because when we all disagreed, I think he took it as us saying that we didn't think he was a good manager, so he was trying to sell us Mikel Arteta, and we were saying, no, we know
he's all right. He's doing all right.
It's just more, could Rangers get him?
The whole thing that about this managerial issue which fascinates me is that one English newspaper has drawn up the short list. How do they know? I mean, because the man at the head of these negotiations is Andrew Kavanagh. Not one of us, nobody has a a line to Andrew Kavanagh or to anyone else in the authority.
Agents, Hugh Keevins.
Well,
agents.
Nah, agents.
You made a living out of that.
I know, this is what
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You made a living out of it.
Yeah.
He's telling his inside info.
Exactly.
I'm telling you.
All of a sudden now he's sort of
throwing them under the bus.
No. I always admit that it's guesswork. You know, but
well, you listen to Freeland Hannah on here.
I always said that we told the story about my dust up with Scott Brown, and I ended it by saying, "You better walk away now, or I'll phone Dermot Desmond." And I admitted in print and on air, I have never ever spoken to Dermot Desmond, and if my house was on fire and he was in charge of the fire brigade, I wouldn't know how to get in touch with him. So I don't know how anyone in an English newspaper is now telling us who's on the shortlist to be Rangers manager. Andrew Kavanagh, if he tells me, I'll believe him.
Roger Hannah, anything to add?
It'll be fascinating to see who he gets. I mean, it'll be, I would think, a very long list. I read Mike McGrath's story in the Telegraph linking various names, including the likes of Rob Edwards, who was sacked by Luton Town through this season. I can't see Rob Edwards pitching up. That's a bit as unlikely as Mikel Arteta. I think we should set the bar high. Now, I know it's pie in the sky to talk about an Arteta or a Mourinho, but surely Kevin Fairwell should be going and asking questions of people like Thomas Frank at Brentford or Chettles Knudsen, who you saw took Bodo Glimt to a Europa League semi-final through the week. They should be going at that height, that type of personality, that type of established, respected coach. And if you can persuade these guys to come to Rangers, then start moving down the list, Gordon.
Roger, did you just say Thomas Frank there?
Yeah.
There is no way. Do you think Thomas Frank's going to come?
No, that's what I was saying to the guy last night. It was pie in the sky to say Mikel Arteta's going to come from Arsenal. But how much further down the list, Mark, do you go? You know, could you get somebody from Brentford? Or, you know, could you get somebody? I mean, it's only now Rangers is looking at Championship managers in England as opposed to Premiership managers. You just wonder, you know, in Thomas Frank's head, how much further do you take that Brentford team before an inevitable slide? Because they all do slide. And football management, as you're discovering, a lot of it's about timing and making sure you're ahead of the curve and you make the decisions for your career before the decisions are made for you.
I think Thomas Frank will be looking at that Premiership job. Yeah. But I get Roger's point in terms of what Thomas Frank has done and the profile behind him. But I think, who was it, David, that says, or someone else that said about the Ange Postecoglou appointment was out Fraser. There, but Fraser, sorry. But Celtic had the connection with that City group and the inner workings of that. So if this group, the takeover, is coming in, they've got to utilise all their contacts, and they will use probably data and analysis, and we chatted about that with Hearts, and we see how it works with Brighton. Be surprised if Rangers don't tap into something like that.
Amateur psychology is another big part of the business. Thomas Frank is 51 years old. In his own mind, he's thinking, if Arteta gets sacked at Arsenal, I could be in there. Or even Guardiola's job at Man City in the fullness of time.
Let's park it for now, because we're going to go back around the grounds next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Let's go back around the grounds. 15 minutes to kick off across the Scottish Premiership today. Celtic against Hibs. Andrew McLean. Clearly, Brendan Rodgers not giving as many changes from the start as other people might have expected. I do wonder though if this means a tendency to go earlier or go more wholesale, throughout the game.
Yeah, I think maybe there would have been a few eyebrows raised at the team selection, just given how strong it is. Brendan Rodgers has spoken publicly about all that focus being on the Scottish Cup final, making sure they're in top shape for that. We knew about Cameron Carter-Vickers. He's going to sit out of the next couple of games at least, just to make sure that he's ready for the Scottish Cup final. A bit of work going on an ongoing issue, but you actually look at that team selection. Kasper Schmeichel straight back in after his injury. Brendan Rodgers with that favoured midfield trio of McGregor, Engels, Hatate. They all start. Maeda, Kuhn and Ida all start as well. But I suppose there probably are a couple of ways of keeping players fresh. It's not just as simple as leaving all your best players out. You can rest them, or you can just keep them ticking over with the right number of minutes across this week. It is a busy week. They've got Pittodrie on Wednesday night and then back here for Trophy Day on Saturday. So maybe Brendan Rodgers is thinking today, the furthest game away from that Scottish Cup final, that he can give a good number of minutes to some of his top players, the ones that you think are guaranteed to start that Scottish Cup final, and then the changes will come throughout the week. Some of those players that start today could well be on the bench or out the squad altogether when it comes to the next 2 league matches. But Brendan Rodgers, he's an experienced manager. He's won plenty of trophies. He'll know exactly how to handle a week like this as well. But it was always going to be full strength for David Gray and for Hibs, wasn't it? Just that final push now to look and secure third place for what has been a crazy season for them. We all know the story. David Gray looked as if he was on the brink in the opening months as they sat bottom of the table. What an achievement it would be if they could finish in third place. But because it is so tight up there, just 3 points separating Hibs and Aberdeen, a shock result for them today would go a long way to try and pip Aberdeen to third.
Well, let's hear then from Brendan Rodgers ahead of this one.
Yeah, I've been very impressed. I think that it was obviously very difficult for David and his team and for the club, but since he changed his system in November, they went to a back five, and that structure has really helped the team. And in all fairness, when we played them back in the cup game a number of weeks back, they arrived in that moment in a really good place. However, we played a really good game that day, and we know we need to play another really good game.
Looking forward to that one greatly. Let's bring in David Friel and Fraser Wishart together, because David Friel is at Hearts. They're looking for a manager. Fraser Wishart's at Kilmarnock. They have a manager. You can both put 2 and 2 together. Is your manager today, Fraser Wishart, going to end up at David Friel's venue in the coming days and weeks? What do you think?
Well, the newspaper reports seem to say that, Gordon, but I was wondering if Kilmarnock, by some mad run of results, ended up in the playoff and lost and were relegated, would you then put a relegated manager in there? I mean, I'm a fan of Derek McInnes. I think he's been a terrific manager over the years, but if you're looking at stats and if you're looking at statistics and all this kind of analysis, would you put a relegated manager in as manager at Hearts? I'm not so sure. So I think it's quite important for Derek McInnes, but more important for Kilmarnock that they get the job done today, and 3 points will see them virtually safe, and then we can maybe start to focus on whether Derek will be the Hearts manager or not next year. But there's still a bit to play for Kelly.
David, what's the feeling around Tynecastle today?
The feeling seems to be the front runner, but as Fraser's saying, there is a little bit of work to be done, both in terms of Kelly and obviously just in terms of if Derek is given permission, if there's an approach, if he is given permission to talk, how that job looks in terms of the data, the Jamestown analytics, Tony Bloom's involvement. You know, I think there's a lot to probably be ironed out, but what is clear is that Hearts are probably going to go domestic, Gordon. I would probably say it's 99% certain they will make a domestic appointment. John McGlynn looked, the kind of favourite at one point. I think that's kind of calmed down slightly. So you then look at Derek McInnes, Stephen Robinson. I think Derek McInnes probably just has a better chance than Stephen Robinson. And if I had 50p, please gamble responsibly, to put on it, I would say Derek McInnes will be the next Hearts manager.
Well, what about timing then? Because Fraser's point is obviously a relevant one about where Kilmarnock end up. Does this all wait till the end of the season anyway? Because let's say Kilmarnock are safe in the end up, as I think most people expect them to be, so that we'll take away the extreme example of the playoffs, so they're safe, but it maybe doesn't go their way today as an example. I mean, Hearts would they announce that? They wouldn't announce that next week under those circumstances, would they? Is this all going to wait, or how do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I think it has to be. As Fraser saying, look, Kilmarnock have business to take care of. They're not secure, they're not safe just yet. But there's only a week to go, Gordon. I would imagine Kilmarnock are hoping they've only got a week to go. Hearts certainly only have a week to go, so it's not as if you're parking it way down the line. And as I said, I think Derek McInnes, he's got a good relationship with Billy Bowie at Kilmarnock. I think he's done a terrific job there, 3.5 years, but I think he's probably ready for a fresh challenge. Hearts need, we spoke about Sean Dyche potentially Rangers, I think Hearts need a manager of stature, personality, credibility, call it what you want. And to me, Derek McInnes is a man who could take Hearts forward, comfortably make them in the running to be the third best team in Scotland, and after that, with the Jamestown analytics on board, who knows?
Kilmarnock against Hearts next Saturday, as Roger Hanna points out. Like a testimonial, you play a half for each. Could you just one half in each dugout, Hugh Keevins? Do you think he'll be the next Hearts manager?
Possibly. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a big call for Hearts, because Fraser was making the point about Hearts and the need to get in the right man, and the danger of Derek being involved in a relegation spat with Kilmarnock. Would they appoint him then? They appointed Stephen Naismith, and he didn't even have all his managerial certificates. And he had Frankie McAvoy standing beside him. They tried to peddle it as a kind of co-manager job, and it failed, and he was out in jig time. And then they appointed a man who was completely unsuited to the role, Neil Critchley, and they dumped him when he didn't make the top 6. And they appointed him, and he was their mistake, and Stephen Naismith was their mistake as well. So they had better get it third time lucky.
What do you think, David, feel about the two opposing arguments that you hear? One, that Derek McInnes is a manager of the older school, and he is able to be the biggest presence, the biggest influence at any club that he is at. Some people say that maybe doesn't fit with a modern analytical model where you bow to all the advice of Jamestown Analytics, Tony Bloom and sporting directors, versus one which says, well, that's the way football's going, it's modern football, and actually any manager worth their salt would be pretty excited to be part of a system that has proven to be one of the best in the business at what it tries to do.
Yeah, to me it's the modern football camp. You know, if Derek McInnes wants to manage at a higher level, which he clearly still does, you know, look, he's an experienced guy, he's been in the dugout for close on 15 years now, but if he wants to go at a higher level and manage a bigger club than Kilmarnock, then he's probably just going to have to accept that that's the way it is. Look, I don't think for a second that Jamestown Analytics will just say, here's a player, and Derek McInnes, if it is him, wouldn't know anything about it. He clearly would have some input in terms of, this is what I'm looking for. But I think if he wants to develop his own managerial career, he's probably just going to have to accept that. And I genuinely can see it working. I know people will say, oh, he's a traditional, he manages everything. I think Derek McInnes is a far better judge of player and a far better developer of players than people give him credit for. And I think if you plug the Jamestown Analytics database, data-led science into Derek McInnes' his expertise, I think you've got a winning match.
Roger Hannah, is there an air of resignation around McDermott Park? Do you get the feeling that they perhaps know today is the day?
There's certainly a better atmosphere around the place. I'm just noting just down in front of me, Livingston number 2 Brian Rice is here. He's obviously doing his due diligence on two teams Livy could face in the play-off final to get past Mark's Partick Thistle in the semi-finals. There's notice, I spoke to some St Johnstone staff earlier on as I was coming in, and also some journalists down from Dingwall, and the Ross County people seem surprisingly calm. Maybe that's to do with the fact that they've seen it all before over the last couple of years, Gordon. They've survived through the playoffs the last 2 years against Thistle and against Wraith, and you know, there's that sort of comfort blanket there of the 6-point cushion to St Johnstone, but it is do or die now for St Johnstone. Simo Valicari said it in his programme notes today. If they lose, they are down into the championship for the first time in 16 years. It would be a dreadful blow for Adam Webb, the new American owner of St Johnstone, but they still have a lifeline. They still have today. If they could get a win, they would go within 3 points of County with a better goal difference, and it would come down to those last 2 games.
Well, that's us then. We're all set up for a cracker. St Johnstone could drop out of the top flight officially today, or it will go on in dramatic circumstances. Hearts against Motherwell doesn't have loads riding on it, but will Hearts have a new manager by next week? Killie Dundee, that's going to be fraught as well, with the trap door just below them, and of course the speculation about Derek McInnes. Can St Mirren keep their European dream alive when they head to Tannadice? And of course it's all about gearing up for the cup final for the champions. We will get you kickoffs when we return.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio. Hibs are giving Celtic a guard of honour onto the pitch in the Glasgow sunshine. We always like to debate that topic. That can get done for another year, you would imagine. But go on then, Hugh Keevins. You have 5 big games today. Give us your ACCA.
I think Celtic are only 2 players short of the cup final team today. I take out Trusty and I take out Ralston, I put in Johnston and I put in Carter Vickers, and I think that's the cup final team. So I take 9 of the cup final team to beat Hibs, Kilmarnock to beat Dundee, Hearts to beat Motherwell, St Johnstone Ross County a draw, and Dundee United St Mirren a draw.
Well, I'm with you at Celtic Park. Celtic for the win. I think Dundee will beat Kilmarnock today. Plenty of goals in that Dundee side. They also concede plenty, but I think they'll win. Hearts to beat Motherwell, Ross County to beat St Johnstone. Yep, gone. Dundee United will beat St Mirren.
That's woeful. I've got to say Celtic to beat Hibs. Kilmarnock Dundee is a stick-on draw. Hearts to beat Motherwell, unfortunately. St Johnstone to really put the pressure on Ross County, win, and I think Dundee United will beat St Mirren.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Planning your holiday? Get essential health advice and medication before you travel.
So, just getting underway, the guys have told you how these games won't end. Let's find out how they do. You can stay in touch all afternoon at Clyde SSB. We will take you through the action today. We'll have our usual fun with some quizzing. We'll look ahead to tomorrow's games. We'll ask Mark a bit more about the playoffs and Partick Thistle's part in them last night. And of course later on, your chance to have your say when we open the phones. So I like to think some of you have got the feet up out the back, barbecues on, some cold refreshments, Gordon DL ringing in your ear. What a way to spend your Saturday. It made me wonder, because we're obviously cooped up in here. It's roasting. We can just, that one little tiny window we've got, to see how much of a glorious day it is. I've got a big question for you.
Just for me?
Specifically for you. On today, and
I feel I've got a big answer.
On today and only today, would you, for the first and possibly last time ever, be willing to be Fraser Wishart or Roger Hannah and be outside?
Well, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't like to be them look-wise, right? If that's what you're asking. Certainly after having a look at they two. Absolutely not. Nah, I don't fancy it.
Not a game.
Nah, because what happens, Mark, is guaranteed they'll be sitting in the shade. Right? So it's not like you're out there sunbathing and enjoying it with your sunglasses on. I would take some pair of sunglasses for a Hannah man, right enough, but I've got to say,
big novelty pairs.
Well, get to seal a big hat on. Come on, the heat to get burnt. No, not at all. I'm quite happy to sit in here.
Were you sitting by him at the PFA last week? Was Roger there?
Oh, he was on holiday.
Oh, was Roger on holiday? I thought he was at your table. And how was it?
You gave us the big build up last week. What did you make of Fraser's speech when it came around?
I didn't hear Fraser's speech.
Were you at the bar? Had you gone home?
No, I went outside. I can listen.
Seriously?
But I've got to say, I met my good fellow colleague Fraser walking in. Had a good chat with him. I love him. He knows I love him. But he bores the life out of me, right? And I thought to myself, right, off I go. Hugh and I, we sort of after the show,
started early.
We started early, and somebody asked me how the meal was. I says the steak pie was brilliant, right? I thought we had steak pie.
You're joking.
I did.
Seriously?
I can't believe
he gets overexcited in these big events.
I do, and then
it shows you how much of a liar you are, because at the time you were sitting going, "This is lovely. This is like."
What was the starter?
Oh, the meat was fancy. It was a venison or something, was it not?
Oh, that's right. And obviously, I met.
I know you missed this. I forgot to tell you
myself.
What?
He was hanging round Scott Arfield like a necklace.
That's
embarrassing.
By the way,
why?
Because we've obviously spoken about it.
Oh, you do love Arfield.
I actually told him
for many years. He was going, I love you. And he made me take pictures of them. But to be fair, Scott Arfield says, listen, I've heard all the nice things you've said over the years. And it's
really?
I was so chuffed.
Because he likes to take a few under his wing. Tom Rogic was always your other sort of favourite.
Yeah,
Stuart Armstrong, remember? He discovered Armstrong.
Yeah. But see, I went for tomorrow's man, the big name. I went to Lee Miller and Mrs. Miller. They were kind enough to invite me over to their table to say hello. So Lennon's mum and dad, that's where you go.
Well, we spoke to them when we walked in at first, didn't we?
Honestly, you and Scott Arfield was embarrassing.
A great night then, was it? You enjoy it and stay all the way to the big awards?
Particularly the steak pie.
I look forward to Andrew McLean's reminding me, David Field, reminding me we need to set you up with Alejandro Bernabé at some point. Since you were the only one that kept faith.
Aye, hold on, $5 million they got for him.
Anyway, we're now underway. There was a bit of a delay at Celtic Park. The players came out with some disabled supporters. They're supporting an accessibility campaign today and taking pictures. I have to say, I saw some of them up at Lennoxtown yesterday, some of the kids, and they were brilliant, absolute superstars. Good. Up there with their guide dogs and so on. So great to see them again. Getting their moment in the sunshine at Celtic Park. Big miss for St Johnstone early on. That would have been nice, wouldn't it? That would have been a nice way to set the tone. Sidibe takes a bit of a fresh air swipe. Josh McPake cuts it back, And St Johnstone could be doing with finding an early breakthrough, because even that might not be enough, but it certainly helps.
The Hibs players, I'm told, wearing black armbands, obviously in memory of Sir Tom Farmer, who has sadly passed away, former owner of the club. Sir Tom was a brilliant guy. He didn't particularly like football. He wanted to save Hibs for the community, and that feeling still goes on to this day. I mean, the song Sunshine and Leith has become a real big thing in Scottish football, and the Hibs community, at one point in chaos and disarray, now third top of the league. And legend has it that Sir Tom at 3 o'clock used to see the teams coming out and then say, listen, I'm going for a haircut. He wasn't all that bothered about the football, so he'd go and get his haircut while the game was going on.
This guy here sort your puncture out as well.
Yeah,
exactly. Right, let's get us underway here. Let's hope we get some early goals to keep us entertained on a Saturday afternoon. Good save by Trevor Carson from Robbie D's header. So Kilmarnock looking to take the lead. The goalkeeper had to get up quickly to block the rebound from Anderson. You'd love his outfit today, Trevor Carson, as well, Gordon. He's got a sort of pink and white raspberry ripple effect goalie strip on, but because he's on the Astro, I've not seen this before in the game too often.
He'll be roasted.
He's got pink tights.
Oh, so he doesn't
like
get any scabs.
The kind of base layer, underarm or whatever.
Pink,
bright
pink ones,
shocking
right.
pink.
Oh, I'm not sure about those. That's like my legs in the sun.
I never wear them outside. I've got to. You got to keep them for indoors.
Enough, please, if you don't mind.
I used to love this time of year as a player.
Oh, your face would have been
because it was end of season.
Bit of sunshine. The end was in sight. Usually I was picking up a trophy the following week, and then you were off on holiday.
Well, you might still be picking up a trophy. You've got 4 big games.
I don't think you get a trophy in the playoffs.
You do in England, don't you?
Yeah, I do in England. But getting to Premier League is your trophy.
Oh, I see what you mean there.
You know what I mean?
Love
That's
it.
your trophy.
First effort at Celtic Park is an Arnie Ingles header. It's a bit tame. Jordan Smith gathers easily. Actually, Hugh, of course we're focusing on this in terms of Celtic's build up to the cup final and so on, but the Hibs story is just brilliant. David Gray's up for the Football Writers Player of the Year, and they have their own aims here, coming here trying to strengthen their hold on third, trying to show that again they can go toe to toe with Celtic.
Sport, football in particular, but sport in general, loves a comeback story. And there were Hibs, bottom of the league, fans outraged, and then along came Hibs v Aberdeen, Easter Road, 3-3 draw, and a transformation took place.
Oh, an unbelievable miss by Bruce Anderson. Corey Ndaba ran from inside his own half. He's then squared it to Anderson 8 yards out. It's pretty much an open goal, and he somehow miskicked it wide of the target. What a error that is from Kelly early on.
Well, they can't afford errors. It's now the place between a rock and a hard place for Kilmarnock, Dundee, Ross County, St Johnstone.
Do you not think Killer's safe in 41 here?
Yeah, probably, yeah. But I mean, today there's nothing like securing your place,
Yeah. You just never know. That if Kelly get beat today, and it takes you into midweek, and you've got that added pressure again. You never know what pressure does to teams.
Frankie Kent's claiming a foul from George Grant's corner. Hearts ref not having it. I think the corner before, Lawrence Shanklin was lurking. He was just about to nod it into the net, and Halliday flicked it away from him. Then they had a wee laugh. Former teammates, of course, former colleagues. Let's do this, Hugh, whilst we get the chance.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
The two teams are playing at Celtic Park today, so it's a nice, simple question. Tell me the last 6 players to move from Celtic to Hibs.
Ooh.
Last 6 who moved from Celtic to Hibs.
At Clyde SSB, the race starts now. Loads of you will be able to sink your teeth into that. Even if it's not getting all 6, you're throwing some names out there, whatever you want, but you do need all 6 on one tweet to win the first half teaser. So at Clyde SSB, get going and let's see what you can come up with there. That's a good one. I like it. Very topical. Indeed, a period of Celtic pressure, as you would expect, but not really coming too much. Josh Campbell tried to take the pressure off a couple of moments ago and brought down by Anthony Ralston.
Would you agree with my assessment, Mr. Maryhill Mourinho? That's a Celtic team that's 2 off the cup final team.
Alistair Johnson and Carter Vickers. Yeah, I would say so. I think with what you've got now, obviously Jota being out, I think it's a pretty simple team to pick. But the interesting thing is Alistair Johnson. I mean, how he reacts to that. Is it an easy
I think
fix?
He's being managed though. I think this is all deliberate.
I think Brendan Rodgers said yesterday in his press conference that Alistair Johnson would be in contention for Pittodrie on Wednesday.
Okay.
I don't think it's like he's out and has a race against time. I think he's been taken out now.
Okay.
With a view to playing the cup final.
Okay, well that's a bit different then. Yeah, I would agree with you, Hugh. I think it's a simple one, and it's, if you're doing analysis from an Aberdeen point of view, you don't really need to do much, do you? Because you know the way they're going to play. You probably know the personnel. There's no surprises. It's just you struggle to stop them, because Jim Goodwin said it a couple of weeks ago, when they're in that sort of form, Celtic, that they have been the last couple of weeks, very difficult to nullify them. So that's a test of your Jimmy Thelin on cup final day, and you just hope for a wee bit of luck or some of them to be off it.
Yeah, it could be an interesting couple of weeks.
Interesting for Jimmy Thelin. Rangers away, Celtic at home in quick succession. We'll know what they're all about by 10 o'clock on Wednesday night.
He'll certainly not be playing young players.
No,
with one eye in a cup final.
No.
You just wonder, maybe once he gets these 2 games out the road, the last league game he might, with the cup final around the corner.
Adam Ida set through by Hatate, nice pass, but Jordan Smith makes the save.
Well, Ida's the one that everyone talks about, isn't he? He got the goal at Ibrox, missed another sitter at Ibrox, but everyone has leapt to his defence since then, and he's going to be this, he's going to be that. So Ida, he's getting time under Brendan Rodgers, who clearly believes in him.
Oh, what about the debate on Tuesday night?
It was Tuesday, me and Big Marv.
Dessers or Ida, who would you take? Oh, it was brilliant.
It was.
What a debate. We heard all sides. We had Celtic fans saying Dessers, we had Rangers fans saying Ida, we had obviously fans sticking up for their own player. It was...
Oh, that's a tough one.
Come on. See, Big Marv, I thought Big Marv, for the first time since I've met him, come out with a good one, right?
Yeah.
He said that he fancied Dessers in the Celtic team to score more goals, but Ida wouldn't score the amount of goals that Dessers scored for Rangers. You got that?
Yep.
And I thought that was a great point.
So you would take Dessers?
I would take Dessers, right? And it's a matter of opinion, and people will be shouting down the radio just now, you're talking nonsense. We all do it, but it's a matter of opinion. I just think that Mar's point is 100%.
Given that Dessers needs 3 or 4 chances to score 1 goal, he would get 3 or 4 chances regularly in a Celtic team that creates umpteen chances per game. So I think he would score more than Ida.
So would you take Ida or Dessers?
I think Dessers would score more goals in the Celtic team than Ida.
He's only got 6 fewer than Dessers this season,
and not as many stars.
Ida is technically better than what Dessers is. I think Dessers misses too many of the easier chances, doesn't connect with things properly. I think I would still take Ida over Dessers. Totally get your arguments, and I like Dessers. I think Dessers gets a hard rap at Rangers, but I would still take Ida, I think.
Do you know what the best bit about it was? Forget that. Then a caller came on and said that he was
Big Marv was there in this
one of these like mad hypothetical debates, that he was 35 and slightly overweight, he said, and reckons he would get 5 goals in the Celtic team if he played every game this season. And that really set us off. We really dug into the debate. Marvin was then turning on me during the break. Marvin said to me, you would not score a single goal for Celtic if you played every minute of every game in a season. And
you fancied 1, didn't you?
I just thought 1 just by luck, that's all. I mean, not due to any ability or anything near it. I'm hopeless, but just 1. You know, if you play every minute of every game in a team that's always got the ball, you know,
I think you would. I think you'd notch 1.
Thank you, Mark.
I do. I think if you just stood him there in between the centre backs and 1 would just fall. I've seen him playing 6-a-side.
No, it's not about that though. It's more about just it's more the chances of it, I think. It's not linked to ability, because these guys, it's a different planet. But just one time, just like lightning striking.
Right, okay. Who plays football? David Friel, right? Plays football. Well, he tries, doesn't he? He's tried. Would you fancy him to score a couple playing with Celtic up front?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, just one time. That's all.
Not at all.
Never mind. Okay.
I think they create enough for wide areas across the 6 yard box.
I think you're better with Roger Hanna. A ball in, header, boom, bust in there you go. And by the way, that's for 40 yards. That's not even in the 18-yard box.
Last time I saw Roger Hanna, he was wearing a fez. Is he allowed to wear that while he's playing?
I received a picture of that, Hugh, last night from Roger.
Yeah.
He's looked very merry.
It's been played like a friendly at David Friel's game at Tynecastle, he says. I suppose there's not loads riding on. I quite like that, though. You know, the sort of shackle's able to come off a little bit, and hopefully just, you know, because maybe the Motherwell team has been unable to try and kind of play exactly like, you know, Michael Wimmer wants them to, you know, just the kind of tension a little bit. But now they're free of it. It's actually a really nice piece of play in midfield from Motherwell to set them on their way, but the attack is snuffed out in the end.
It was always a good time of season for me for that. I mean, I had that once or twice in my career where there was nothing. You were never in a race to win anything, never in danger of relegation, but you just enjoyed the occasion. I mean, when you go back to when you were younger, there's no pressure on you. That's when you really enjoyed football. As soon as all the pressure's added and, you know, there's jobs at stake, that's when it gets on top of you at times. So
mortgages to pay. That was the one.
Yeah.
You didn't get that win bonus. Telling her the mortgage not getting paid this month. But I'm still giving it, sweetheart.
He would as well, wouldn't he?
Can I pay the mortgage? We'll have a weekend away with the boys.
Is this marital advice from a guy who's been married 3 times?
Banner unveiled at Celtic Park. It says, fairer deal for fans. Celtic PLC always out of touch, never out of pocket. I assume, is this in relation to this Newcastle friendly? Is that what it will be? I think you used to get a friendly or something, or two as part of your season ticket, but I think this one's £25 if you want to go and watch Celtic and Newcastle. I think that's what's accelerated it, unless I think it's that and the season ticket prices.
Season ticket prices, they are not cheap now. 5%, anyway, but never mind at Celtic Park.
5% hike. I think the cheapest.
What it is?
Yeah, the cheapest Celtic season ticket now is £608. But you know, the Celtic board, all right, never out of pocket. Well, that's to Celtic's advantage that they're never out of pocket. You know,
Celtic are probably a different example of this because they make a lot of money in selling players and so on, and I know they have a lot of money. I do have a bit of sympathy for football clubs because I think we can all agree tickets are too expensive. They're far too expensive. Doubt, we would always want to stick up for fans. Having said that, I'm not sure there are loads of Scottish clubs making excess millions off ticket revenue. You know, that they're expensive to run as well, so it would take much more of a sort of joined up collaborative approach, that rather than if a club just slashed its ticket prices right now, it would lose money. Like I say, Celtic is an extreme example because they make so much money in other ways, but generally speaking,
supporters of Celtic and Rangers are, I'm trying to phrase this delicately, they are at a disadvantage because they are to an extent used by the clubs because of the rivalry. For example, last Sunday, Ibrox, the Celtic supporters, 2,500 of them were charged £57 a ticket. Now, the week before, they had protested over Dundee United charging them 42, but after a £15 hike, you couldn't get a ticket for love or money. The Celtic supporters couldn't wait. So Celtic, Champions League packages, buy the 3 home games, etc., etc. Never ever an empty seat in the house. The atmosphere unbelievable. To an extent, the fans of Celtic and Rangers are disadvantaged because their rivalry is used by the clubs. They can charge what they like.
And I'm not sure this is the platform for a lengthy debate on the fundamentals of capitalism or supply and demand, but the clubs would also possibly turn around and say, well, see, whilst we've got tens of thousands of people on a season ticket waiting list, then they're not too expensive because people are willing to pay it. But that's not very nice for everybody else to have to cough up, is it?
No. But I guarantee you that at Celtic Park today, in the sunshine, you'll be able to see 1 in every 2 supporters wearing a Celtic jersey. Merchandising.
Big save, Kasper Schmeichel. That's the closest we've come to an opening goal. It was Martin Boyle. It was point blank range, but the goalkeeper spread himself well to make the save. So big opening for Hibs early on in this one.
Well, they've got a lot to play for, as do Aberdeen at Ibrox tomorrow, and that's why, you know, had Celtic played 2 or 3 younger players, B team players, youth team players, whatever, they might have been accused of interfering with the integrity of the competition. But Celtic have gone, as I say, 2 players short of the cup final team, to my way of thinking, and Hibs understand that they have a lot to play for and will get few chances, so they have to be careful with them.
It's a bit like the game earlier on in the season. Remember, Hibs started incredibly well, created chances. Yeah.
He was a fortunate bounce through to Boyle, but then, you know, he kind of reacted nicely on the turn. Kasper Schmeichel making the save. Lennon Miller was trying to drive forward. He's been brought down. Motherwell have a free kick in a central area, too far to shoot, you would imagine. I think Andy Halliday will probably put this one in.
Put it in the mixer, as they say. Indeed. In the game. You would be surprised with Boyle. He's been in bang on form, isn't he? He's been brilliant for
actually,
Hibs.
it was they ended up knocking it to the side, and Slattery rattled it from miles out. It's so far out, and it's a really good effort from Callum Slattery that just moved away from Craig Gordon's top corner. Everyone was in the box expecting the cross. He was really far out. He did fairly well to even come that close, but
it's not Craig Gordon, is it, today?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Fulton.
My apologies. You just fall into autopilot in those ones sometimes.
I mean, he has been about forever, Craig Gordon. You wonder when he actually will call it a day. What is he, 41, 42? I
think maybe once.
He said he wanted to wait until the new manager came in. And
to look him in the eye and see what he was about.
If the new manager's
gone for ages, don't he?
But 42
is quite extreme.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, surely you want to get the feet up and just enjoy your life a bit.
Well, you say that though, but it's
you're not really doing a lot, are you?
What other goalies are playing at 42? That would be the best barometer, rather than just your rogue opinion on
Dino's off and on until he was 65.
Brilliant.
You know what I mean? So
but that's when football was your day. Remember, all they had to do was come out and catch it. You could pass it back to them. I watched a clip, by the way, the pass back, when pass back rule was in operation. It was horrific.
Well, see, after watching your 2 playoff games, I'd be silent if I was you on style of football. Let me tell you now.
Listen to me, Pep Guardiola here.
My goodness.
Would you say that your United team played better football than
all day long?
That?
We'd have tankies. Absolutely run all over the top of you.
I'm not sure.
You honestly, I could not believe it.
I'm not sure.
So we started congratulating him, and now we're going knife.
The ball had to go for an ice.
He didn't start congratulating me.
The ball had to go for an ice bath at half time to come back out.
The thing about Craig Gordon is, depending what the national team do, there might be a World Cup next summer.
I always feel that Craig Gordon, remember, before he signed for Celtic, he'd been almost 3 years out of the game. Very, very serious injury, and I always feel that subconsciously Craig Gordon wants those 3 years back at the latter end of his career, because that's the only chance he's got.
Could say he's had that.
Yeah, I fully understand that. I do think 42 is pushing
he's 10 caps away from Jim Leighton.
Nah, he won't get that.
No. You look at
the thing, if he plays the World Cup qualifying campaign, he will though. That's the thing, 10 caps.
We don't know if he's still Hearts goalkeeper yet. You know,
No, I get that, but what I mean is it's not an unsurpassable, unsurmountable target if you've got a World Cup campaign. If you even play another 2 summer friendlies next I think the squad maybe gets announced in the next couple of weeks. You never know. I see Angus Gunn, he's leaving Norwich, isn't he? So we don't know where he'll rock up. Not much depth there. Let's give us the teaser, please, Hugh, and we'll check in.
Very simple. Tell me the last 6 players who moved from Celtic to Hibs.
That's a good one. Gordon Dalziel and Mark Wilson, are you taking part today? No,
my brain's I'm tired. I've got
you're exhausted. Did you sleep last night when you went home?
Getting about, I don't know, back at 12, up 5:30. Don't know much sleep. No.
See, that's the life of being a co-manager. Not that I've ever been one. I was always
you were the number one.
I was always the guy who made the decision.
I take it these are permanent signings.
Yeah,
because Kwon has been suggested by Chris Geddes.
That's Kwon,
but he's a loan player.
Okay. Thomas Robb says Liam Henderson.
Nope.
Okay, what?
Where is Liam Henderson now? Is he still in Italy?
Yes, Empoli, I think. What about some good ones coming in? Thomas Robb thinks he wants to throw. No, he does want to throw Anthony Stokes into the mix.
No.
Okay, some tricky ones on here. You know, you're going to have to get your thinking caps on at Clyde SSB. Send us a list. Water breaks all round. Must be boiling out there. 23 minutes gone. Water break at Fraser Wishart's game. Same at Tynecastle. Ball over the top for Maeda. He's slightly wide of the 6-yard box, but then the flag goes up again. Celtic have had a couple. Their timing slightly off today.
He's the one that surprises me, Daisen Maeda. I mean, clearly suffering the effects of jet lag at Ibrox last Sunday.
Jet lag? He ran home.
Not from Tokyo, he didn't. But no respite. In you go from the start.
I now really just want to know what happened with the birth of his child.
I know.
Because
what do you mean?
Well, that's why he went to Japan, but then she didn't have the baby. Brendan Rodgers said so. He came back. So she held on for another week.
And they said he wasn't going to fly straight back to Japan after the Rangers game.
These are the big issues that we need to.
How long's that flight, Hugh? You've probably
11 hours.
11 hours.
Yeah, murder.
But he would have been in the
first class
flatbed with a glass of champagne.
Nah,
he would have been
champagne. He's no. We'd have
drink champagne.
Yeah, with a glass of red.
Maybe not.
No, it's a long old flight.
Who did you go with, Hugh, again?
It was World Cup.
Yeah. But which Roger? No?
No, Roger wasn't there, no. 2002, with plenty of guys who are sadly some no longer with us, etc, etc, etc. But I remember coming back and took my daughter down to buy her a present because I hadn't seen her.
With the Eckies.
And
would you buy her a car?
I fell asleep.
If you would just do me the service of calling them expenses, it would really, really help this family show tick along.
I think everybody will know what I mean.
Expenses.
Took her to buy her a present.
My goodness.
Sat on a bench by the canal here in Clydebank. Fell asleep. She had to phone her mother to get home.
Because you were jet lagged.
What age was your daughter when you're buying her a present?
I can't remember.
You always bring the kids
like
something back.
Like small, like young. Because your daughters are
23 years ago.
You still always got to bring the kids a souvenir back.
I've got the wrong World Cup. That's not come back. I come back from the USA in '94.
There you go.
That makes more sense.
Took her to buy her a present and fell asleep. She had to phone her mother to come and get her.
Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal at Celtic Park, and it comes for the visitors. Martin Boyle puts Hibs 1-up. He has been on fire. They've been on fire in recent weeks, and it has just continued today. He's reacted well to finish that. He had a big chance a few moments ago. No mistake this time. Celtic 0, Hibs 1.
Well, I thought that Hibs would do well at Celtic Park, but then I saw the Celtic team, as I keep on saying, 2 away from the Cup final team, and I thought, I'm not sure now. But there you are, Martin Boyle, Mr. Consistency for Hibs. He's to Hibs with Brian Graham as the Partick Thistle. And Celtic have the work to do.
19th of the season for Martin Boyle, and 19th of the season.
It's a minute. See, the minute you move a winger into the middle of the pitch, they come alive, don't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're involved more, they're sharp, they're active. You look at Maeda coming off the left and goes in there and replaces Kyogo. Brilliant, player of the year. Martin Boyle playing through the middle now. 19 goals, did you say, Gordon?
Yep.
Scores today against Sharp. Brilliant, absolutely great.
That's why, I know he scored at Ibrox last week. No one need to remind me, but I think Celtic lose Maeda's influence in the goal scoring department, and Ida's not as good a goal scorer as Maeda. So I think that, I know I've said it's too short of the Cup final team, but for me, Ida misses too many chances.
And what about more pressingly here, Mark, is the other change that we've not really spoken about that much, is the fact that Austin Trusty, who's become a bit of a forgotten man recently, starts the game today. Maybe being harsh, but I do wonder if some Celtic fans would see his part in the goal as being a bit timid.
Well, without doubt. I mean, he's one that's been, I think you can describe it as a poor season from him. He started okay and he looked like he could be a suitable partner for Cameron Carter-Vickers, but I think there's too many slack moments across the season, and I think if the Celtic fans were hearing seen that goal today, they'd be disappointed again. So that's a big one. He really needs to start performing better, because the money spent on him, you know, we always concentrate on the top of the pitch, and Hugh's mentioning Ida again, and we mentioned Jota and the figures up there. That's a big price tag for a centre back who's not performed well.
But there were a part in the season where him and Carter Vickers looked really strong together,
but particularly in the Champions League games,
yeah.
I think, in the European games. But this is your bread and butter, and I think there's too many errors in that. I don't know if he just takes his foot off the gas a bit when he's playing domestic football, or of course it's a different style. Look, you're playing against someone like Martin Boyle today, who's as direct as they come. His pace causes an element of chaos in and around the box. You've got to be able to deal with that if you're a Celtic centre back. And he's quite clearly shown today he's dealt with it poorly, but there's been other times.
Brendan,
let me tell you about this first, Hugh.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's a goal for St Mirren. Dundee United 0, St Mirren 1. It's Mikel McMandron into the bottom corner, and all of a sudden, if it was to stay that way, just 2 points between those sides. We've got a penalty Kilmarnock, a foul by Astley on Liam Donnelly, but VAR is going to check, and
goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal St Johnstone. Ooh. So will they survive a bit longer in the top flight, or is this the start of something special? St Johnstone 1, Ross County 0. Balodis with the header, Elliot Watts corner. Jordan Amisa did get a hand to it, but it creeps over the line, and I wonder if the St Johnstone fans are daring to dream. Still a long way to go, but they have the lead. Penalty Kilmarnock as well. Danny Armstrong is going to take it from the spot.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Fires it into the top corner to make it Kilmarnock 1, Dundee 0, and it's getting very, very interesting in the bottom six.
Well, here we have a Ross County side who have lost 6 games in a row prior to this afternoon's match, and are now a goal down at home. Away rather, to St Johnstone. Everything points to St Johnstone. Simo Valakari has got to hold on to this. He's not only hold on to it, build on it.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hearts 1, Motherwell 0, and his vintage Lawrence Shankland. He may have not managed it too often this season, but he's certainly finding his shooting boots towards the end of the campaign. It's a long ball forward, he just knocks it into his path, and he drills it low outside the box, quite a distance out and into the bottom corner beyond Aston Oxborough. I think there was some claims that maybe hit his hand, and he's the man that scored it and all that, but I think if anything he's pointing to the shoulder, and Lawrence Shankland has Hearts in front.
It's amazing when your contract's due for renewal, all of a sudden the shooting boots seem to come out the cupboard.
Or Rangers might be looking for players in the summer.
It's incredible. Listen, I said it from day one, and I don't care, I'll argue with anybody. They play him in this number 10 role. They've changed that. I think it's Liam Fox. It's now put him through the middle. What does he do? Scores goals. That's what his game is. I couldn't understand why MD looks at Lawrence Shankland and thinks we'll get a better return as a number 10. He's a centre forward. He scores goals.
Scored it from the number 10 position, probably. That
no,
one.
He didn't. No, he didn't. He's playing number 9.
No, I'm saying he was like 22 yards out.
It doesn't matter. He's still there. If he was a number 10, he'd be 25 yards out, 30 yards out.
He was in the pocket there, Lawrence Shankland. But it's a good goal. I don't think Michael Wimmer will love the Motherwell defending as they let the ball bounce right over their heads, because we all know how good Lawrence Shankland is, but it's not necessarily pace that tends to cause teams problems. But he's managed to run in behind there because the ball bounces over the head of Stephen O'Donnell. So Hearts are in front, Hibs are in front at Celtic Park, interestingly. Kilmarnock are in front at home to Dundee, St Johnstone in front at home to Ross County, and St Mirren in front away to St Mirren. We're keeping an eye on the League 2 playoff as well, because East Kilbride played Bonnyrigg Rose today. Remember, it's the first of 2 legs. The winner of that will become the last remaining team to line up in the SPFL next season. It's a huge, obviously for both, but particularly the East Kilbride story, because they've tried to get out of that Lowland League and get up, and they've won the Lowland League a few times but never managed to win the playoffs. It is 1-1 at the moment. A dream start for East Kilbride. Cammy Elliott scored in the second minute, but Aaron Arnott equalised for the visitors about 15 minutes later, and it stays 1-1 as things stand.
Yeah, you quite rightly say, Gordon. East Kilbride have ploughed a lot of money. They've tried every single season. Very ambitious club, like everything about them. I know the club very, very well indeed. They fancy that. They really do. This could be their year. It will be difficult, as you said. It's level pegging just now, but look, they've got good experienced players there, and I think that will go all the way.
Well, if you're East Kilbride, do you really feel you not need to, but you really want to be taking a lead from your home game, don't you?
Well, hold on a minute. The man sitting next to me is the exact same. Went down there with a goal deficit, turned it round. I think even if East Kilbride go there with a draw, they'll still fancy it, but it'll be difficult.
Different. I think the difference with this is East Kilbride play on Astro, Bonnyrigg don't. East Kilbride like the Astro surface and knocking it around, and
well, Partick Thistle playing concrete. You know what United
so the air. So the air. That was the thing.
By the way, the pitch was magnificent. I know it didn't look
it was getting slaughtered a couple of weeks ago.
Not last night. So the groundsman, good job, because it was very good.
VAR check for a Celtic penalty comes to nothing. It hit the hand of Chris Cadden. It may have been outstretched. I suspect also the proximity defence might have gone for him, because there's not a half a yard, a quarter a yard between him and Dyson Maeda, and the ball just sort of pops up and hits his arm. So Willie Collum did say at the start of the season those ones would be unlikely to be given, and that has been the case today. So it was a corner to Celtic in the end, which comes to nothing.
Often wonder now how many penalties would I have conceded in my career now, just because, you know, the shape of your body, you go to block a cross and your hands are out, you have to defend a totally different way. I mean, there must have been so many occasions that the ball hit my hand, or, you know, it's down by my side, it's hit it, and VAR would just pull that up.
How many penalties would I scored?
That's a good point. Yeah, you would have been more than 200
plus
200
plus. Or they could have ruled out some penalties that you didn't deserve to get, or offsides that you maybe.
Do you know what I always think the most important one? Remember the cup final one I've never spoke about? I wonder if VAR would have ruled that offside.
You think you're maybe offside?
I don't know.
Oh, what a great turn of events this could be.
Would be.
Imagine we could retrospectively rule
out
the
goal away.
I know.
And all your fame would just
disappear with it.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Do you think you might have been?
Slightly. I know I'm sharp, right? But I just read the situation. I think back to now, I wonder if I'd just been still a little bit offside. I don't know. My nose would have been. I know that.
Brendan Rodgers has been wondering a few things as well. You know, they're a goal down. His goalkeeper has had to make another magnificent save from Martin Boyle. Could be 2 down, but for Kasper Schmeichel. And nothing happening. At the other end of the park, I'd take off Ida.
You're really not a fan of Ida, are you?
And I'd put Maeda through the middle and bring on James Forrest.
Well, he needs his goal, of course.
I thought you were going to say Yang. I was going to
No.
What would Ida have to do, Hugh, to change your opinion and turn it round?
Stop missing easy chances.
The strikers are always going to miss chances.
But you've just picked Dessers over Ida, and he misses hundreds of chances.
But also with there, I mean, last week half time slaughtering them because he missed a chance. He also grabs the equaliser, so he scores in big games as well. So he misses chances, but he does score.
He's got no time to mess about, have you?
Not at all. No.
Any minute now.
Poor Ida is not going to get a second chance.
Could be any minute now, Matt. He's no time to mess about.
Not at all.
Any day now might have been better. Any minute. I'm on standby. Got my first aid.
He's done his first aid. You're fine, Hugh.
That's all very good. I'm just running the rule over your cup final goal here.
What do you think? Is it looking?
I don't think we had enough. The celebration's atrocious.
Oh no, I like the celebration.
Well,
that's how we do it.
If you've ever scored in a cup final with the armband on, you're a leader, you're a captain, you're a main man. Sometimes you
even
get
the referee can't be bothered with you. He's like, get out the pitch.
Your teammate. Did the teammates even celebrate with him?
No,
that much.
I was an individual, mate. I didn't care about teammates.
It's very hard to tell. Because the cameras, hold on, this is the best view that we're going to get you. Oh, this is a good one.
Don't waste it for me, G. Don't waste it for me. I've lived off.
Oh my goodness!
I've lived off of this for years.
Give us a look, Gordon. I'm good at calling these.
Oh, hold on a minute. You'll have
I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, come
on. Yeah, I think just.
Timing's everything. Sharpness.
If it takes that long,
Shut
then
up.
no, I'm coming out in your favour here.
Thank you,
If
Scott,
it takes that long, then you're trying too hard.
Exactly.
The goal should stand.
Hold on.
I think you're okay.
Is this you here? This one?
I think the left foot of the central defender is playing you on, whoever he may be.
Oh, come on, all day. All day long. Even
is that the contact point of the ball?
That's as close as I can get on YouTube. Do me a favour.
Aye, who is that on that back line? Is that Mark McNally?
Aye, even the beak's,
just tell.
The beak's onside as well. Everything's onside.
Who is that?
Anyway.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Equaliser for Motherwell, and it goes the way of Callum Slattery. He has been one of Motherwell's best performers in the second half of the season. Really impressive, actually. And it shows you what Motherwell have been missing in that long time. He was out injured for a year, but he has equalised for the Steelmen in the sun in the capital. It was a long ball into the box. It was kind of cleared and then put back in. Lennon Miller defending all over the place, and Slattery hits it down into the ground and into the back of the net also.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
We've got an equaliser for Ross County, and it's Alex Samuel, so that changes things. It was not a long advantage that for St Johnstone. St Johnstone 1, Ross County 0.
1-1.
Oh, sorry, 1-0, my apologies, yes.
So, as I keep on saying, if St Johnstone lose today and go down as a consequence, it's their fault. They're playing a team with 6 defeats in a row behind them, and they had a 1-goal advantage into the bargain. So you're fashioning your own destiny.
Taking a look at that Motherwell goal, there was a lot going on, lots of bodies, and I wonder actually if it's a similar situation that Motherwell got away with in the eyes of Tony Docherty last weekend. I wonder if it's one of those, because there are players in offside positions and then people come back. I think that's probably the confusion. So there's a lot to be cleared up, I think, to find out whether that goal will stand or not. What else have we got here? Ayunga missed a great chance for St Mirren a few moments ago, by the way. There was a Maeda cross. Ida and Kuhn couldn't quite get their shots away.
Sounds like good games across the country. Yeah. It's crazy how well the first spate of goals that came in all congregated around the same time, and then another couple there, although that Motherwell goal being checked. But that's a big goal for Ross County.
I'll tell you what, it's a big goal for Dundee.
The referee is going to go over and check the monitor, and this will be quite remarkable, because the Dundee one, we argued about it a lot, didn't we? Tony Docherty was very strong, and you don't really see many of them. And this is very similar, I think, by all accounts. This is pretty similar, where the ball sits for a Hearts defender who's going to clear it, and a Motherwell player who I think's in an offside position comes to challenge, and if anything, puts more on. He does put more on the Hearts defender than the level of contact last week, because that was obviously Tony Doc's complaints. I think this might well be ruled out. Now, remember, in terms of protocol, unless I think there's another confusion here, and you know this is the beauty of VAR. I might be about to take all that back, because I think there's also an accusation that Dan Casey's in the eye line of the goalkeeper when Callum Slattery's ball hits the bottom corner. So either way, it's a subjective call from the ref. That's why he's gone to the monitor. I think Motherwell's goal will probably be ruled out here.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Celtic 1, Hibs 1. It's Kuhn with a touch past the keeper. He then finishes into an empty net, and about four minutes before the break, we have a level game at Celtic Park.
Well, the crowd will be enjoying themselves in the sunshine. Brendan Rodgers' team selection justified. Kuhn had an injury in training during the week and had stitches underneath his eye, so it's been a...
He's starting to find form at the right time again, Hugh, didn't he? He took that dip. He's come back. He got a couple up at Tannadice. He's scored today. He's just starting to bring that form that everyone at the beginning of the season thought he's got to run away with.
Checking it for offside, and incidentally, that Motherwell goal does not stand, so it remains Hearts 1, Motherwell 0. Bit of a messy one. Probably one that people will argue about afterwards. So Motherwell were involved in one that went their way last weekend. Check for offside on the Nicholas Kuhn goal as well. It's all the rage at the moment by the looks of things.
Difficult one for the referee. They can't enjoy that when they actually get it in their ears, a VAR check. They're probably thinking, okay, just make it black and white, go to the monitor. Oh, you must be joking.
Yeah, because that means there's an offside, someone's in an offside position, but they need to be the ones that judges the subjective element of it, i.e. is there an interference, is there someone in front of the goalkeeper, that sort of thing.
You've got to think how difficult that is for the referee, because he's trying to manage the game and he's wondering himself about his decision making, how his game's going, like any player is. But then having to go to that monitor, and he knows all eyes are on him, both sets of players, both coaches, some coaches in his ear, and he has to try and clear all that to make a decision. Tough job for them.
2 minutes added in Perth, 1 minute added at Tannadice, so we're getting to that stage of the games. It will be lengthier at Tynecastle, it will be lengthier at Celtic Park. The goal stands. Celtic 1, Hibs 1, and Nicholas Kuhn is the man with it.
Good time to score for Celtic just before half time. As I said, Kuhn starting to find a little bit of that form again, starting to find the back of net as well.
His 21st goal of the season, and the football writers laughably left him off their shortlist for Player of the Year.
Listen,
Hannah Friel.
Does that surprise you?
21 goals from a winger. Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering if he's just goals, he's got the most assists in the league as well.
Hold on, I've missed this then. Sorry.
And he doesn't make their shortlist.
Triantis
instead of Kuhn, and then it's the same list as the PFA's.
Yeah. Somebody should lose their job over that. Or several people should lose their jobs over that.
Roger Hannah, mostly, I would say.
That is inexcusable.
21 goals and the most assists in the league.
So the Triantis thing just came off the back of, there's no Hibs players in the running for the PFA, and they've done well.
It's weak when you think about it.
Exactly.
They've melted.
Do you know honestly what I think it is? I think it's just Andy Halliday talking about it on a Monday, and Roger Hannah's been swayed by him.
By the way, that is outrageous decision.
Yeah.
To be fair, Triantis has been good.
He's been good. But there's been loads of players been good. You need to be top to get on that list.
And not a fullback in it. That's ridiculous.
It's only 21 goals and the most assists in the league. You could do more.
That's mental.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Oh, add another assist to Nicholas Kuhn. And a goal for Adam Ida. I bet Brendan Rodgers is glad he didn't take him off. Hugh Keevins, he has scored just before the break, and what a quick turnaround. Celtic 2, Hibs 1. We've got half time in Perth. Roger Hannah.
We do. It's St Johnstone 1, Ross County 1. It's back to as we stand in the relegation fight. St Johnstone led, but County equalised just before the break. It was a bright start for Simo Valakari's side. Josh McPeak making progress down the left after just 5 minutes. A great cutback and a fresh air swipe from Adama Sidibe when he really should have hit the target. Sidibe again went close, firing wide this time after Uche Piezu's knocked down in 9 minutes. Then in 28 minutes, the best chance so far. McPeak again the creator. A ball in from the left, and Sam Curtis, right wing back, across the face of goal when he should have scored. But Daniels Balodis did score in 31 minutes. Elliott Watts corner from the left. The big defender who scored the winner here against Celtic last month got up another booming header, and it crept in at the foot of the post despite the best efforts of County goalkeeper Jordan Amisa. Seconds later, seemed to be a snapshot. It was deflected just over the bar with goalkeeper Amisa backpedaling. But fair play to Don Cowie's County. They came back into the game. Alex Samuel flashed a shot over the top from 20 yards in the clearest sight of the St Johnstone goal so far. Ronan Hale was also off target from the corner of the box after 40 minutes. But then moments later, the equaliser, Josh Nisbet freeing Kieran Phillips down the right, and his low cross met and netted at the near post by Samuel. He's a bit of an expert scoring against St Johnstone. That was his first since a 3-3 draw with the Saints in Dingwall last September. It brought parity for the Staggies. It's all to play for in the second half at the interval. St Johnstone 1, Ross County 1.
Deep into added time in some of the other games. There's going to be 7 added at Tynecastle. David Friel in the Sun, in the capital of all our reporters as well. The man least equipped for the Sun will be David Friel. He's going to be stuck there for quite some time.
Although professionally he's equipped for the Sun.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. The sunshine. But that's the only one so far, and it's it's tense, it's level. It doesn't do St Johnstone any favours at the moment, though.
No, but St Johnstone aren't doing themselves any favours. So these things begin at home. You have to look after yourself. Never mind that hoping others will do you a favour.
It is actually half-time Tannadice where St Mirren have the lead. I'll get you a half-time picture there from Dave Galloway. Remember, we were a bit late at Celtic as well. I need to do the answers to the teaser at some point. Do we have a podium? We'll find out in the next few minutes. I'll maybe do that during the score roundup at the half-time break. It's half-time in the League 2 playoff. East Kilbride 1, Bonnyrigg Rose 1. That's going to be tense ahead of the second half here, and then the second leg in a few days' time.
Yeah, it's all to play for there, but it's
turn around Celtic.
Brilliant. That's the quality that Celtic have got. That's what they can do to you. The minute they equalise, you're thinking, good time to score, get at half time, level pegging. Brendan Rodgers will tweak one or two things.
Half time, Kilmarnock. Here's Fraser.
Yeah, Kelly fans around me are fairly happy. Half time, it's Kilmarnock 1, Dundee 0. They're halfway there. They deserve the lead. They've had the better of the game and the chances, and took an Armstrong penalty to give them that narrow lead. But Dundee just huffed and puffed it, haven't really looked like scoring the first 45. Kelly started on the front foot as early as 5 minutes. Trevor Carson made a really smart save, low to his right from a bouncing Robbie Dees head. Had to go up quickly to take the ball away from Bruce Anderson, who was trying to score from a couple of yards out. 2 minutes later, Anderson should have opened the score, and Corey Ndaba, brilliant run from deep inside his own half. They played a 1-2 Fraser Murray into the box, squared it 8 yards out, open goal. Complete miss kick by Bruce Anderson with his left foot, and the ball bobbled wide. Around 15 minutes, Dundee had a good spell. Simon Murray made a yard just on the edge of the box. He dragged his shot wide though. O'Hara then made a good punch to take the cross from the left hand side off the head of Seb Palmer Holden. A couple of injuries disrupted the flow of the game, a water break as well. The tempo dropped, and perhaps both teams understandably becoming more cautious given the importance of the game. But then in 31 minutes came the only goal of the half, and Kelly took the lead. It was a deep Armstrong free kick to the back post. It was Liam Donnelly and Seb Palmer Holden who were going for the ball. Donnelly went down, referee Don Robertson pointed to the spot, up-stepped Dan Armstrong, brilliant penalty, top right hand corner, keeper no chance. Took Dundee a while to get over that, but towards the break began to take a grip in the game, but Kelly defending deep, frustrating the dense part side and not really testing O'Hara, and at least they'll show something for Tony Docherty to take into the half-time break, because the questions are now all for Dundee. Kelly looking comfortable, but Dundee haven't shown enough in attack so far. At this stage of the season, they need something from this game, given the result, or the scoreline, at McDermott Park. Half time at Rugby Park, Kilmarnock 1, Dundee 0.
And it's half time at Celtic Park. Here's Andrew McLean.
Celtic 2, Hibs 1, the half-time score. Martin Boyle providing an early scare for the hosts at Celtic Park, but Nicholas Kuhn and Adam Ida with strikes late in the half to give them the advantage at the break. Early on in the game, Celtic maybe playing at the pace of a team who have already got that title wrapped up. They were dominating the ball, as you'd expect, but it was all just a little bit disjointed. Their best early chance came as Rail Hatate's through ball found Adam Ida. Jordan Smith making the save from that effort. He was then set through by Greg Taylor a few minutes later. Smith saving again. The flag went up for offside this time. Hibs were just happy to kind of sit back, absorb a bit of pressure and hit Celtic on the break when they could, and they nearly scored when the ball ricocheted to Martin Boyle in the centre of the box. Bounced up really nicely for him. He was on the turn, caught the strike well, but Kasper Schmeichel spread himself brilliantly to make a really good save. Then a similar chance 25 minutes in. Josh Campbell at the edge of the box. I think it was a shot from him deflected into the path of Martin Boyle. This time he could not miss, slotting past Kasper Schmeichel and running to the Hibs fans in the corner to celebrate the opener. Although Celtic after that showing why they are the champions. They got the equaliser as Anthony Ralston played a ball over the top. Adam Ida was battling with Rocky Bashiri. That allowed space for Nicholas Kuhn just to nip in, take a really good touch past Jordan Smith, and all he could do at that point, roll it into the empty net for 1-1. Then just before the break they took the lead. Kuhn the provider this time, a really nice through ball over the top for Adam Ida, bit of an angle, but a calm right-footed finish across goal, which means at half time it's Celtic 2, Hibs 1.
Quick turnaround by Celtic then towards the end of that first half. I'll get you the half-time picture from Dave Galloway at Tannadice as well in the not too distant future. The latest game is going to be David Friel. I'll tell you what, why don't we do that when we return?
Football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
It's finally half-time at Tynecastle. Let's hear from David Friel.
Finally, Gordon Hearts 1, Motherwell 0 at the break. Long Shankland's finding form just as the season ends. He hasn't been his usual prolific self this season. I think it's fair to say that, but he's made the difference for Hearts here so far with his 8th of the campaign. He got a double against Ross County last weekend. He's put them ahead here. Brilliant finish. I said earlier, both sides don't have much to play for. It has felt like a friendly at times, but Shankland has reminded everyone of his quality as that contract ticks down. Motherwell had a calm, splattery goal disallowed, but Michael Vimmer will want more from them in the final third after the break. Hearts caused some problems from corners early on. Nothing really came of anything. Motherwell, it took him 20 minutes to have a real shot on target. Andy Halliday nudged a free kick to Callum Slattery. He was fully 35 yards and he wasn't far away from the top corner, but then on the half-hour mark, Shanklin fired Hearts ahead. It was poor defending from Motherwell. Simple ball forward. They allowed it to travel, allowed it to bounce. Lawrence Shanklin got the break of the ball as Motherwell were playing a handball, and he drilled a shot into the bottom corner from 22 yards. After that, Motherwell thought they'd levelled. 38 minutes, the ball dropped to Callum Slattery in the box. Great finish into the bottom corner, but referee Ryan Lee made a pause. There was a lengthy VAR check for all manner of reasons. It was a bit messy, claims of offside. I think Dan Casey was accused of standing in front of the goalkeeper, and in the end the goal didn't stand. So Shanklin's goal, the difference so far. Hearts 1, Motherwell 0 at half time here.
Well, let's hear from Dave Galloway, who's at Tannadice, having watched the game between Dundee United and St Mirren reach the half time break.
Half-time, Dundee United 0, St Mirren 1. The visitors first to threaten. Good cross from Idowu to find Phillips, but he couldn't connect properly, and Mandron from outside the box curled one just wide. The hosts hit back. Middleton's drive was blocked, and Hemming showed sharp reactions to save Doherty's shot from 6 yards. Play going from end to end. Idowu's shot rippled the side netting, but Dalby really should have put Dundee United in front, heading over from close range from Middleton's cross. St Mirren took a deserved lead after 31 minutes with a brilliant man-drawn goal. Ale Biosu found him outside the box and he curled low into the bottom corner with the left foot. Ayunga missed a great chance to make it 2-0 when he was put clean through, but he shot over the bar. However, United skipper Doherty headed Ferry's cross over when he really should have hit the target. It's been a decent first half, but the visitors have the advantage at the interval. Dundee United 0, St Mirren 1.
Right, Hugh Keevins, let's do this while it's the half-time break as well.
The first half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
The last 6 players to move from Celtic to Hibs are Ewan Henderson, our very own Scott Allen, Effie Ambrose, Dylan McGeoch, Mark Brown and Derek Riordan.
Well done if you got them right, because that is some list. Sean G 1995 was in third place. Well done to you, Sean. Jamie 1125, the second place silver medalist, but no one as quick as C Geddes 92, the winner of the first half teaser. And we will do a Who Am I and get the second halfs underway when we return.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Trywire.com. Save like a world-class keeper. Get a great price on your next car.
A Rayo original podcast.
What's up? We're Jordan and Perry.
Join us on our brand new podcast, Brothers Uncovered, where the two of us and my big bro, Ashley Banjo, play our favourite game, Would You Rather, bringing conversations that are chaotic and sometimes morally questionable.
Check out our Brothers Uncovered podcast now on the Rayo app, Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's not in my bag. In the car? Nope. Oh, what if I dropped it on the train?
If you've lost your card, you can freeze it till you find it with the Barclays app, or order a new one in just a few taps. Whether it's lost, damaged or stolen, our app will put you right back in control, so you can relax knowing your account is safe and secure.
Right then, better order a new card. Now, where did I leave my glasses?
Search Barclays app today. Barclays, make money work for you. You need to be 11 or over to use the app. T's and C's apply.
Get the new Google Pixel 9a on EE and save a massive £384. Now with AddMe.
What? Add to you?
Well, no, not me, but AddMe. Lets you add everyone to the picture.
Even the person taking it.
Perfect for the family get-together.
That's right. Plus, save even more when you trade in.
Right, squeeze in, everyone.
All on the UK's best network for over 11 years in a row.
Savings across contract. Trade-in value dependent on device. Eligibility. Credit check and terms apply. Credit by EE Limited. Verify best network at ee.co.uk/claims.
A Rayo original podcast.
What's up? We're Jordan and Perry.
Join us on our brand new podcast, Brothers Uncovered, where the two of us and my big bro, Ashley Banjo, play our favourite game, Would You Rather, bringing conversations that are chaotic and sometimes morally questionable.
Check Check out our Brothers Uncovered podcast now on the Rayo app, Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Trywire.com. Kick high prices to the curb. Drive away with huge savings. The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Bit of a staggered start to the second halves, of course, because some games are back underway and some are not. Roger Hanna says a bright start by Ross County. St Johnstone haven't got going. I think it's probably still half time at Celtic Park. Let's check in with Andrew McLean and get him to elaborate on the events so far.
Yeah, still half time here, waiting for the Celtic and Hibs players to emerge from the tunnel. Quite an interesting first half, really. You remember a few weeks ago, Brendan Rodgers was talking about his Celtic team and how after, on their way to wrapping up the title, with the points gap being so big that you felt the team were too comfortable at times in some games. It was after that game at McDermott Park at St Johnstone, wasn't it, that he really highlighted that. He wanted a reaction from his players. He's got that reaction from his players since then. They had that run of 3 games where they scored 5 goals in every single one of those matches ahead of the Rangers game. But maybe the first 25-30 minutes of this game, the Celtic team kind of reverted back into that. They had a lot of the ball, just weren't really doing a whole lot with it. It kind of had a feel of one of those end of season matches with the sun shining, with the players already maybe thinking about their summer holidays. But Brendan Rodgers knows that they need to push on for these final 3 league matches. They've got that Scottish Cup final to think about, and then that Hibs goal that Martin Boyle scored, which there was definitely a stroke of luck with Josh Campbell's shot that deflected into his path. It was a good finish from him and ran over to the Hibs fans to celebrate. But that maybe just kind of sparked Celtic into life at that point, and the players thought, you know what, we really need to step it up a level here, and Nicholas Kuhn has been the man to do that so far. The goal was really well taken. It was a ball over the top from Anthony Ralston, and he just nicked in. He sort of ghosted in behind the Hibs defence. Nobody was tracking him. A nice touch past Jordan Smith and just rolled it into the net. And then after that turn provided a lovely ball over the top for Adamida, who maybe will have been disappointed with his first half hour or so. He had a couple of chances, didn't really threaten Jordan Smith too much. A couple of easy saves for him so far, but this time the ball rolled through to him. Really nice finish across the goalkeeper, and it just completely changes the complexion of the game. If Hibs had managed to get in ahead, they'll have really thought that they had a great chance today of getting a vital 3 points, or maybe even a point, put the pressure on Aberdeen, who of course visit Ibrox tomorrow. But Hibs have a lot of work to do now. Their team are now out for the second half. I don't think there's going to be any changes for Hibs. Brendan Rodgers still has his Celtic players in the changing room. Maybe a few things that he wants to just work on with them so that they can continue that excellent 5 minutes or so that they had before the break. But every single one of their outfield players were warming up during the break, so I wouldn't expect any changes to be made by Brendan Rodgers when the team makes its way out the tunnel.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get your essential medicines and vaccines before you head off on holiday.
We'll probably be able to check in with David Friel again, because that game was finished a long time after the others. But Brendan Rodgers, Mark, be pleased with the end to the half, if not the beginning of it?
I think so. A bit sloppy at the beginning of the half, of course. You concede the first chance to Boyle, but don't learn your lessons and then concede. So sometimes you just need something like that to kick-start you. But I think Celtic, on the whole, created plenty of chances. Obviously, Ida missed a few others went close. But 2 goals against this Hibs side is not an easy thing to do, as we've seen over the past 16 or 17 weeks. So I think he'll be happy. Wonder how long he'll leave it before he starts making those changes. Bernardo, McCown, even Kenny. He's got a very strong bench to pick from.
Yeah, very happy. Nicholas Kuhn, I'm thinking back to Nicholas Kuhn's goal celebration when he scored at Tannadice the other week, when he made the gestures of it, blah, 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 meaning that there's too much talk about him. Well, we talk about football 2 hours per night, 5 days a week, and then 4 or 6 hours at the weekend. So, yeah, this is Scotland. Everyone talks about football all the time, but Kuhn has responded. He scored a good goal at Tannadice. He scored a good goal today, and he is the brightest thing about Celtic this afternoon.
Can't disagree with that. I don't know about celebration, whether that's what he meant or not. Only he'll know.
It's bound to be something along those lines,
right,
isn't it?
Okay, fine. But he's hitting form at the right time, leading up to a cup final, going for a treble. He's scored today, as Hugh quite rightly pointed out, and also set up Adam Ida as well. That's what he's there for. So he'll be happy with his first half performance. I think Brendan Rodgers will be very pleased indeed.
See if he scores again. I hope he does a typewriter celebration to slam the clueless football writers that left him off of their Player of the Year shortlist.
So, sorry, who are the three names again?
Oh, you're not going to let this
McGregor.
go.
Oh,
the same as the other list.
Triantis, right? Yep. Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, I wonder who'll win it, but Maeda should win it, but you never know with him. I wonder if he'll give
I'm surprised they put Maeda in it. That's how bad they do it.
I wonder if he'll give a little nod to that. You know, whoever picks up the award, if it's McGregor or if it's Maeda, supporting our teammate.
See, now he's referring to the journalistic trade as them.
Yeah.
This is
use.
Dangerous talk in this day and age.
Yeah. Use could destroy
a football manager now.
Yeah, use can destroy careers just like that.
Well, we've tried it.
Oh, that's right. Did you stand up to him?
I had to fight a few battles with that man over in the corner.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Never complimentary to me. Never.
You put him in his place, eh?
Oh, I had a phone call for Spain for them once. I don't know if you can remember.
Oh, right, tell us more.
That's how angry it was. It cost me a fortune.
You phoned from Spain to Hugh?
At the airport, yeah. He wrote something. It was a time we were going head to head with Livy, and obviously he was very pally with his good pal Jim Leishman. Gave me a little bit of criticism. I thought,
I've never heard this before, right?
No, it's taken 12 years to come out. That's great.
That's why prior to one PFA dinner, I meet him in the pub by accident, and he referred to me as a bleep dinosaur.
Well, I've heard that one, but what did you phone in?
Oh, I went after. I had a few strong words, and Hugh gave me a few strong words back. It was a good ding dong.
That's the nature of the profession.
You are so sensitive.
Yeah,
aren't you?
I will.
He is so sensitive.
Look, because like all people who are thin-skinned, he pretends he's not.
I know.
Oh, look, see if I get criticised in any social media platform, I can't sleep.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But you say that you don't care, and you really, really do.
There you go. Anyone listening, get on to social media.
Listen,
I love to be loved.
I was verbally abused by Biggle News.
Exactly.
Soonest threw me out. Dalglish threw me out.
See, last week when we left here, it was just him and I went to a pub before the PFA do, and he's uploaded a picture of himself in his suit.
By the way, I've seen some of the comments.
He's sitting through the comments going, what's wrong with my jacket? Why is everybody saying my suit jacket's too long?
By the way, I love that.
Right, but again, as if to prove this exact point, he goes, see, I don't mind all that. I don't mind that.
By the way, I threw that suit in the bin. Let's go back to the suit jacket, because we've not spoke about it. How long was that?
It just looked long the photos, man.
Honestly, it was nearly touching your ankles.
I didn't think it looked too bad in real life, I have to say.
It was
maybe
massive.
I just didn't notice.
Also, sporting 3 buttons. I've not seen the old 3 buttoner for a while.
Listen, what am I wanting 2 buttons for? You know what I mean? I'm a 3-button guy.
It's 3-button.
I know. Wow. I was anyway. There was a lot of good comments. Yeah, a lot of good.
I know. By the way,
I just thought your phone call was nowhere near Sir Alex at his peak.
I knew my place, Shug. I knew my place.
He was the best.
Wow.
Like throwing you out.
As soon as you start phoning journalists, you must have never been done with that though. You must have had to do it all the time.
Flying. Not one of them. Do you know, there's another thing, right? One league, second, cup finals, semi-finals, everything, right? I listen to these guys on this radio. Not one of them ever put me in for a job. Not one of them.
Good to see he's not bitter after 20 years.
Who are you aiming at?
I can't. I hope they all fail.
Are you going to the football writers' dinner?
Yeah, I'm going with my good friend Roger.
Hypocrites, the pair of you. One refers to us as them,
a free meal,
and the other one
a free meal. I'm there. By the way, here's the worst thing, right? I've picked out my outfit already. Know how you do?
Nope.
The worst thing in the world for any guy is walking into a place and somebody get the same suit on as you. Do you agree with that?
Well, no, I think that's less a problem if you're a man, more a woman, is it not?
The dress.
Aye.
Because
guys are kind of...
The suits are all kind of similar.
No,
unless you've got like one out of Dumb and Dumber.
No, the first thing I do, I take my jack off. So I do.
Hold on, there's only like a black, a grey, or a navy suit. Is really
but you might have a blue checked one, right?
Aye, you were like in the 2000s, early 2000s. You're not wearing a checked suit.
No, I'm going plain, Jane.
Bit of a ding dong between Nicholas Kuhn and Jack Iredale, really going at it, having to be dragged apart, booked both of them, and booking for both, as the referee tends to do.
I back Jack Iredale.
Bigger laddie. Although maybe Kuhn's been in the wars.
Never back the big ones. We had the argument, the gorilla are 100 men.
That's right. Maybe he's saying, Andrew McLean's suggesting maybe Kuhn's not happy that Jack Iredale got goal of the season at Fraser's PFA do.
Oh.
Maybe Nicholas Kuhn felt he should have been in the running.
What'd you make of that? Deserved?
This is a guy that thought we had steak pie when we had venison. I think he can remember.
I sit on the fence with all decisions, especially with Fraser. I let Fraser just take over. He's a good friend. I like Fraser. You know, I'd never say a bad word about him. A bit boring, but very good at hosting a dinner.
A claim for a Hearts penalty, but half-hearted really. It was Cammy Devlin. He thought that Thompson's challenge was unfair. Ref not having it. Fraser Wishart very quick to remind us it's actually the Sky Sports goal of the season, voted by the fans.
There you go. Fraser takes no responsibility for anything, does he?
Distancing himself.
Well, that's a sign of a good PF
all that
chairman.
means is that the Hibs fans all just clubbed together and battered their laptops into submission.
Yep.
We do the second half teaser?
I suppose, why not? Glad you're here.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I think this is tough, but then again, I am a bleep dinosaur. I have played with Shane Duffy and Lee Hodson. I have been managed by Mark McGee and Lee Johnson. I played for 2 Scottish clubs in 2 different decades and won 1 major trophy while playing here. Who am I? A lot of information. Played with Shane Duffy and Lee Hodson. Been managed by Mark McGee and Lee Johnson. I played for 2 Scottish clubs in 2 different decades and won 1 major trophy while playing here. Who am I?
That's a cracker. Get on it at Clyde SSB and send us the name over. It's the Who Am I, just one name. Fire it onto a tweet. This is a big goal though.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
St Johnstone 2, Ross County 1. Elliot Watt guides the shot past Jordan Amisa. He was teed up by Sidibe, and maybe there's something on here for the Saints.
Well, this is fighting for your lifetime, and they are doing it. They've gone a goal up. They've been pulled back to equality, and now they're going to go up again. So, you know, everything's on the line here. St Johnstone, if they get that result, it's panic time in the Highlands.
Lennon Miller's gone into the book. He slid in on Cammy Devlin. I think the Hearts fans and players want more. I think they want red. I'm not sure they'll get it, but there's been a bit of a delay anyway, so it'll be a nervous wait for Lennon Miller, because that would probably be that in a Motherwell jersey then, wouldn't it, if that was to be a red?
It's just the summer. Yeah,
everyone assumes he's off, and
to Celtic Park,
suspension.
Abroad, Italy, somewhere like that.
Well,
interesting to see where he applies his.
Italy's the place for Scottish players. Most of all for Scott McTominay, who's now just the king of Naples.
He's got them on square sausage or something, did I see this morning?
Yeah,
spreading the local delicacy.
It's a pizza with Lorne sausage or something like that.
Don't mean to be cynical, but
I don't know if he's.
Do you think Scott McTominay's even into square sausage?
I don't think he's invented that or brought that.
Do you know what I mean? But whatever, we love him anyway, and they love him, so.
I took a bit of criticism the other day saying that I didn't like the pizzas from Napoli.
From Naples, you did,
yeah, because
that's a bold shout.
That is the home of the pizza,
right?
So and a lot of people, this does my head in. A lot of people, I've been to Naples and the pizzas are good. I don't care, mate. I don't like them. Have you been to Naples?
No. Seriously, I thought you were going to
take it back. You stand by that. You don't like the pizzas
100%.
in Naples.
Yeah, and they're at home with the pizza.
Like all of them.
In the traffic, you can't get across
That's
the road.
different.
I'd
That's
never
a different
go
issue.
there. I'd never assign
Which pizza did you get in Naples?
Margarita.
You still like it?
Because he prefers the big thick ones you get out of those kind of all-in-one takeaways.
Kebab meat on it. Like them.
With pineapple. Terrible.
I've never been to Naples. No, I'd like to go.
Yeah.
No.
I actually think that sums you up.
What?
Really, complaining about the pizzas in Naples, that might just be you in a nutshell.
No, they weren't the best. I didn't like them. Too doughy.
But that's the thing, they wouldn't be. They would be the opposite to
No,
that.
they were too doughy.
No.
The other supermarkets I go to get better pizzas, let me tell you.
East Kilbride are 2-1 up in that playoff against Bonnyrigg Rose. A double from Cammy Elliott. That is a huge game, of course, trying to get themselves into the SPFL.
What'll happen there if they don't, you think? Call it a day?
Well, I don't think the full place will shut down.
No.
But I think there will be
big changes.
Big changes, yeah.
It just feels like you put everything into
Yeah,
it and
a
give it a
long
real
season.
good go. And
Yeah, for twice to happen, Stranraer last year, they'd fancy their chances against Bonnyrigg, and I mean that in the greatest respect.
because if you've, as a coaching team or as a player, if you've all, let's be honest, sort of walked the Lowland League, do you want to go and play another full season in it? And I don't know, but it would be interesting. We'll wait and see what happens. But they do lead Bonnyrigg Rose by 2-1 at the moment. It's at that stage where teams are starting to make changes. Tans are on for John for St Mirren as they look to add to their lead. Adewumi on for Palmer Holden as Dundee look to try and get back into the game at Kilmarnock. Payton on for Trapanovsky for Dundee United. It's getting hard to keep up. Sven Sprangler's hurt. He's getting lengthy treatment. Remember, St Johnstone do lead at the moment, which is obviously all they can do, and it pulls them within 3 points of Ross County, remember, because
if
they
Ross
play
County
each other.
lose that, as many would that been?
7 defeats in a row.
Do you think that at this late stage that the chairman would do anything?
No.
Too late
I
now.
think the chairman likes Don Cowie. I think he would back him.
If St
the full
Johnstone
way.
won this afternoon, they're away to Dundee next game. I'm sure they're away to Dundee. 8 in a row.
What's the point, though? You just
different. Well, hold on a minute. You look at what these guys have done, going in as interim manager and coach.
What took over in fourth and finished fourth?
Well,
That's a good point. That's a good point, Gordon.
Do you know, so that's terrible.
I know, he's absolutely done it.
Come on,
that is
hold on.
supposed to be a friend.
The reason I can crack that joke, not as true as it may be, I have been his biggest supporter in years. So don't
I'll
even
let you
start
away
me.
with it.
I actually felt I was giving it too much. I was being too sycophantic. I had to bring him back down to
Well,
earth.
Partick made the change because they believed
They were slipping out of that. You are right.
Right.
And that's why it was a cheap joke. But let me interrupt you.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal Hatate. It's a lovely finish. The ball just drops to him round about 16 yards or so out, and he makes no mistake. Finding the bottom corner. Has had a brilliant season, Rio Hatate, all in all. And he has scored again. Celtic 3, Hibs 1, and another one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Dundee United are not going to be able to take advantage of Hibs getting beat, though, because they are 2-0 down. This St Mirren post-split run has been brilliant. It's Ayunga, left-footed, nice finish, poor defending, and it's Dundee United 0, St Mirren 2. What a result in the making that is.
Certainly is. Stephen Robinson, as soon as he achieved top 6, you think, is that their season over? Feet up, enjoy just the remaining games. But no, I mean, we always say an opponent that's relaxed sometimes can be the most dangerous, and it's actually proven that way in the last few weeks. So well done to St Mirren.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hearts 2, Motherwell 0, and it's a Lawrence Shankland header. He really is ticking upwards towards the end of the season. Got a double last weekend. He's got a double. He's on the hat-trick today. It was Penrice with the cross, Shankland with the header, and that will be a long road back for Motherwell in the capital sunshine. Hearts 2, Motherwell 0.
Somewhere down south, Neil Critchley is looking at this and thinking, if he'd scored those goals for me, I'd still be in the job. Hearts would be top 6, and I would still be getting a wage.
Well, if you play him as a centre forward, you've got a better chance of scoring the goals. That's what I would say.
Correct.
Again, I still feel that is harsh on Critchley. Is it the points total he gained? Would have been good enough to get him up the table. So, a lot of the damage was done before he arrived. But nevertheless, the players have started responding, and well done to Liam Fox. Not easy, been on the coaching team and been part of what happened before and then taken over. But Daz is right, he's made that important decision. Just keep shankling up, get bodies round about him, get balls into the box.
If you're Stephen Robinson, do you think I could have a chance at the Hearts job?
100%, why not?
You must.
100%.
Look at that, as Gordon said, the post-split run is, and the results that took him into the top 6. He's had some season.
Yeah, he really is a good striker, though, Lawrence Shankland. I know all this stuff this season, and people focus on the limitations, but Motherwell have got loads of defenders back, Gordon. I think Thompson has him initially as the kind of left back. There are central defenders in there, and he just runs across and gets the header. And in fact,
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's turning into a bit of a doing now. Hearts 3, Motherwell 0, and it's Cammy Devlin. The initial shot saved by Aston Oxborough, and the ball put into the bottom corner. Sorry, it's Alan Forrest, my mistake. Alan Forrest, who buries the ball into the corner. His brother could be doing with a goal before the end of the season, but Alan has got one.
Funnily enough, he was talking yesterday to the press about some of the sticky takes off the Hearts fans. They haven't been impressed with them, but there you are. That's the best way to answer them.
A good response from the players in recent weeks for Hearts, because it was a pressure game up at Dingwall last week. Went through a sticky spell, got out of that, and that's a comfortable win. So they're finishing it off in a bit of style. Plenty of goals.
Yeah, I agree. Since Fox come in, has he won every game?
That's only his second game.
2, yes.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking.
Give him the job.
No. That's what I'm saying about if you're Ross County and you lose today. I would not be. I know what you're going to say. I would not be surprised if it pulls the trigger on him.
2 games to go.
Why not? You could lose the next 2 games. He's lost the last 8.
That's the point. It would only be. Do you get to a stage where you're almost like expected to go either to go down or to be there?
He's never done this before.
But do you know what I mean?
Has Ross County never done this before?
They've been 11th for the last few weeks now, haven't they? Does it really?
Sometimes you look and you think,
if Hearts dip near the bottom of the table, there's a big panic and they've got higher expectations. Ross County are going to sack their manager 2 games to go, are they?
Tell you who would be on the list if they did, though. Derek Adams.
Oh, he'll be back.
Back in. Yeah.
Right, one of the boys are correct. Has Ross County not get previous for us? Have they not
sacked a manager with a couple of games to go?
Near the end of the season, changed it?
Can't remember, can't recall.
One of the boys will tell me.
Oh wow, this could be quite something. So Kyle Vassell, popular Kilmarnock captain, out for a while, injury setback, comes on, gets a great reception, runs on, pushes Simon Murray in the box, and the referee Don Robertson's going to the screen.
Oh, that's a good impact.
A real impact on Simon Murray to knock him over. That is quite remarkable.
Yeah, one of the leaders in that squad.
Referee said play on. Fraser Wishart felt it was risky. Don Robertson's going to go to the screen. He's literally just on the pitch.
Derek will be fuming with that.
He was going to announce his move to Hearts today if Kilmarnock had won that.
Yeah, could have.
I'm joking, by the way, in case anyone is taking that. Maybe it was. But
dangerous to joke.
Certainly not one that I'm officially aware of. But that's going to be quite something if that plays out.
Is Vassell coming on so pumped up, the adrenaline rush, and he's just clattered the first player he saw?
Yeah, I mean,
it sounds like it here.
It's probably one of them. You're running on, Mark, thinking I'm the man to handle. I'll handle Simon Murray at these set pieces.
Yeah.
I know he's physical, but so am I. I can stand up to this.
Well, the players have to realise that the cameras are all round about them now, and they don't get off with things as lightly as they once did. So they just need to be careful. But what a moment it could be for Dundee, because you look at the points and the way things are sitting. St Johnstone just creeping up there. Scores remain the same. So this could be a big moment.
Yeah, Callum Slattery's taken a sore one at Tynecastle, but Motherwell fans enjoying the sunshine, but not much else. 3-0 down now. It's fallen apart quite quickly. Michael Wimmer, I'm not impressed with what he's witnessed. Celtic now 3-1 up, remember. Don't forget that Rio Hatate goal. Still nothing, have we, on this?
106 goals for the season for Celtic. That was Postecoglou's achievement?
114. I think Brendan Rodgers' first spell, maybe
160. Yeah, so well.
Oh wow, looks like a problem with VAR because Don Robertson's like beside the screen, he's not looking at it. So
they've not plugged it in.
No, what they need to do is switch off and switch it back on again.
I think they maybe can. Wonder if there's another monitor. I think
that would be profoundly embarrassing. Because this
can you imagine Tony Docherty?
No penalty. There we go. So if has he seen something though? Because he's gone to the monitor, so usually they overturn the original decision. Or is it that VAR's not working, or the monitor's not working, and he therefore has to stick with the on-field decision, which was no penalty? We'll need to get a bit of clarity on that one.
Well, Tony Docherty would be fuming after his rant last week. Oh yeah. And imagine if VAR wasn't working and it's robbed his side of a penalty. Ooh.
Might tip him over.
Well, for the good afternoon of football.
Oh, by the way, I think it could be that because he's explaining it all to the Dundee players.
Oh no, that's a shocker. Then I have every sympathy then with Tony Docherty.
Yeah, but I mean, also at the same time, what do you do? What do you do in those situations? It's always it's written in that the referee's decision would be final in the event that VAR.
So Clydesdale House must have the feed though.
Do you know what? See, to be fair, right, we are kind of speculating a bit, so let's nip it for now because I don't actually know what was seen or not seen on the screen. But
if you go back to the as things stand table, you've got Dundee on 37 points, Ross County on 35 and St Johnstone on 32 as things stand. So it's all about those three clubs now and nobody else's business.
3-1 East Kilbride, so that would be a decent advantage to take to Bonnyrigg.
Bit of breathing space there. One more you'd want. You're right.
Well, that's what they did in the last tie, wasn't it?
4-1. Yeah, it was 4-1. Yeah, but 10 men as well.
Jordan McGregor, I think, was he the man sent off in that previous round? I think he was.
We had him at Airdrie, we did.
We taught him everything he knows.
Has scored the goal. Hugh, remind us of your teaser if you can, please.
Yes, it's very complicated. I played with Shane Duffy and Lee Hodson. I was managed by Mark McGee and Lee Johnson. I played for 2 Scottish clubs in 2 different decades and won 1 major trophy while playing here. Who am I?
Okay, a few guesses coming in. Scott says, is it Jamie Murphy?
Nope.
Although I think he's now he knows it's not Jamie Murphy, but he thinks he fits the rest of the criteria, apart from played for more clubs. Spaceman wants Mark McNulty.
Nope.
Greg's Gardens and Jamie Dock and Chris Geddes all going for Brandon Barker.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Struggling with that, man.
Keep your guesses coming in at Clyde SSB. Triple change Motherwell, Armstrong, Wilson and Dixon all on. Watt, Thompson, Maswanisi off. Won't matter, it was a bit of a dead rubber anyway, and Motherwell are 3-0 down, so nothing is realistically going to change there.
Interesting at Celtic Park, 3/4 of the game gone, no changes.
Well, James Forrest is ready to come on. Is this the day? Is this the day he gets his goal to keep that remarkable run going of scoring in consecutive seasons?
If they get a penalty, they're giving it to him.
100%, surely. At 3-1 up? Surely. No, are you sceptical?
Are you, Mark?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess the players will be aware of the situation. They've got to be, but not sure if there's that much
sentimentality
and that at that level.
I would think sentimentality.
Or if James Forrest would put himself forward to say, "Give me the
that's
ball,"
a good point,
because he's very humble.
But somebody can walk towards him with the ball and say, "Here." I think there's room for sentimentality under those circumstances.
If you can't be sentimental at 3-1 up when you've already won the league at home, you never will be.
I remember, was it a couple of years ago, or well, more than a couple of years ago, to give Izagiri a spot kick. He scored 2, I'm sure.
Yeah, and he blazed
on the ball.
That was the worst penalty of all time against Dundee, was it?
Something like that. I remember.
So what's he got? 16 consecutive seasons, going for 17. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite astonishing. I was sitting on the bench for his first.
Where are you, Mark?
Against Motherwell.
Yeah.
Paulo Bernardo also getting stripped. So if your Hibs, if there's not a lot of let up, they made a raft of changes themselves that I forgot to tell you about. My apologies. The likes of Bowie, Cadden, Hoylett were involved. Nicky Cadden, that is, sorry.
Just a quick word from our podcast sponsors, Wire, the best way to own an electric vehicle. Wire is a car purchasing platform that only sells 100% electric vehicles. So they'll walk you through the process of selecting a fully electric car that meets both your needs and your desires. Wire prove that virtually every car buyer can go electric today. They've got affordable options, saving you thousands on your next car through the Salary Boost scheme. The scheme makes purchasing an electric vehicle a sensible financial decision. Make sure you check out trywire.com for more information and how you can sign up. Now let's get back to the podcast.
A Rayo original podcast.
What's up? We're Jordan and Perry.
Join us on our brand new podcast, Brothers Uncovered, where the two of us and my big bro, Ashley Banjo, play our favourite game, Would You Rather, bringing conversations that are chaotic and sometimes morally questionable.
Check out our Brothers Uncovered podcast now on the Rayo app, Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Plenty of changes getting made. It's roasting as well. David Friel's struggling. He's wilting in the heat.
He must have factored 50 on it.
Having another water break as well.
Who, David Friel?
Yeah.
No, he's got the water bottle scushing all over his face and everything, and I can just picture him. That beater out just... His missus in bed and I going, you're in the spare room, I'm too warm. Look at the face. Look at the face.
Wonder where that was going there.
He had me worried.
Oh, the red face, sorry.
Anyway, Finlay Robertson on, Palmer holding off for Dundee. We're going to get in a late drama.
You're right about Tony Docherty, though. I mean, you're now talking about a man at the end of his tether, and such an important call. 37 points, 2 ahead of Ross County. Did you say they play next week? Ross County, Dundee?
Dundee. At Dundee. Ooh. I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. But usually I'm up to.
You know your fixtures inside out.
Yeah, usually.
A big couple of weeks coming for those teams. I mean, I've been in a good few relegation battles myself as a player, and they're not easy. Just stress throughout the week. Because at that level, I think we were touching on it earlier, it is people's livelihoods that are affected.
Yeah.
Maybe not players as much, but yeah, players as well, but they're not your primary concern. It's more staff members at the club.
Winner Thistle, what's the schedule now again? Remind us when you play Livingston.
Tuesday for Hill. Tuesday, Friday.
Are you training tomorrow?
Train tomorrow morning, yep.
I'm looking for a game of golf tomorrow. Put it out there, going quickly. I'm in Ayrshire, Galston, Loudon Golf Club. How did
that flip from the playoffs and serious business to you?
I need to get, because I'm down
I want to go back to the playoffs if you don't mind. Standing ovation for Lawrence Shanklin, no hat-trick, but he does go off to be replaced by James Wilson. Celtic making those changes. Forrest and Bernardo on for Kuhn and McGregor.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal Dundee, and it is Lyle Cameron. You all know he will not be playing his football at Dundee next season. He's off to Rangers, but he's leaving them with what could be a massive goal. It's an equaliser for the Dens Park side down at Rugby Park. Lyle Cameron with it.
I thought I was a stick-on draw tonight. I really did. It's a big goal, isn't it? Makes a bit of difference in the league table, gives them a little bit of breathing space with Ross County losing, and they play them at home next week, so
that's their cup final.
Yeah, and you would fancy the way Ross County's gone about their business just now, that Dundee would beat them at home.
As things stand, it's 7 defeats in a row for Don Cowie. 7.
Scores from about 12 yards out, Lyle Cameron. It was Adewumi with the pass, gets in decent shooting range and makes no mistake. Game on.
Well done to Lyle Cameron though, because the speculation or people were chatting about he might go off to Boyle, how he was going to handle it.
I think he's had a bit of stick as well, to be fair, about performances. Last week I saw a lot of Dundee fans grumbling about the game against Motherwell.
Well, look, players can have the one-off bad game, but I don't think his form, what I've seen him anyway, from that time has been poor. I think he's gave his all for the team, because that's always the argument. Somebody signs a pre-contract, I think people actually think they're just down tools and they don't care. That's just so far from the truth. those players have still got a job to do. They've still got to impress their new manager, their new fan base that they're going to, and obviously professional pride. So I think he can hold his head high. A good way to finish by scoring a goal today.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
They're not level for long. Kilmarnock have scored again, and it's Bruce Anderson this time. So that puts Dundee back in it once again. It's a header from 6 yards. Tony Docherty will be furious. The criticisms that have been coming his way for losing from good positions or dropping points or whatever. And we've got another one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Oh, it's all changed. It's a goal for Ross County. It's a bad one for St Johnstone. Ronan Hale, it's a corner, bit of a scramble. He smashes it home. Always kicks the ball really hard, Ronan Hale. Have you noticed this?
Yes,
wherever he is,
smashes it.
Just shoots powerfully. And he's actually at point blank range. Still blasts it home. And it's an equaliser there. St Johnstone 2, Ross County 2.
Is this not why we love the split? I love the split.
Oh yeah, it's great.
You know, it's exciting. It's changing from 1 minute to the other. All of a sudden, Dundee 1-1. You're thinking, yes, next week cup final. A point sees them over the line. Ross County back in it. Dundee behind.
As things stand, they are separated by 1 point. 37 points Dundee, 36 Ross County. They meet next weekend.
Stays like that, Doncow will be getting a new 3-year deal.
She's still got that shumper on today. He wears it on every occasion, doesn't he?
With the jumper?
Oh, a jumper with the shirt under it combo. Loves it.
Michael Fimmer's sporting a cardigan today and it's roasting at
come
Tynecastle.
on, Michael.
I don't know what he's thinking here.
Needs to be a t-shirt.
Now, there is a VAR check on this Ross County goal. Presumably for offside, says Roger Hanna. So we do have a drama there in Perth, because that stage of the season where a goal really changes everything either way, or a decision. Not to say they don't contribute the same throughout the season, but it obviously just carries more drama. John Beaton's the ref, Greg Aitken on VAR. So that's a very experienced team of officials, that. Let's see what they can come up with here. Ayunga's had a goal chalked off for offside for St Mirren, who by the sounds of it,
strolling it,
2 up, goals chalked off for offside. Doing very well, St Mirren.
What a result that is, by the way, because Tannadie's been a hard place to go for teams this year. Well done, St Mirren.
Well, the decision regarding Ross County is
no goal, offside. St Johnstone 2, Ross County 1.
It's a battle up.
It's as you were.
We're back to next weekend being the cup final. Then Dundee beat Ross County. Dundee safe, Ross County right in trouble.
This is incredible stuff. Remember that midweek card as well, of course, just in case anyone's forgotten about it. So during the week it is
Wednesday night.
Dundee Ross County.
Yeah.
Wednesday, 14th May.
Oh, yous aren't here on Wednesday, are yous?
Oh no, we're away.
Oh no, I genuinely forgot. I was going to go to the second half at Fir Park.
So was I.
Final home game of the season.
So was I. I was going to Motherwell Kilmarnock.
We're in London.
Yous will be picking up our own trophy and giving who's doing the speech.
Oh, there's only one man for that job.
Our London audience will be ready for you.
It's genuinely a who's who of the radio industry in the entire British Isles. Can you imagine unleashing him?
Amazing. That'd be great. I just want to see you work that room.
You might think it's unlikely, but like this station's one station of the year, like 2 out of the last 3 years or something.
Yeah.
I know this. We're not going for that. We're going for our own award.
No, but even if it's the big one, you need everybody goes up on stage.
Gets up.
Oh no, I'm not bored with that nonsense.
You're a team player.
Does he discuss his Bath night?
Super Scoreboard will feature heavily in the Station of the Year nomination. That's part of it.
Who does that speech?
It could be you.
I
mean, usually it's one of the
two speeches.
Usually it's one of the big hitters, a George Bowie, a Gary Spence, but this could be your year because they've won it a lot recently.
No bigger hitter than the Dazzler.
Exactly.
In London.
Oh, it'll be amazing. It'll be amazing with you just to rub shoulders with some of the celebs, the more famous people connected to radio throughout the UK. Get out, Gordon, get some videos, get that phone ready.
My worry is I'm going to need to look after him.
You're going to have to shop
through the streets of
Zoe
London.
Ball and all that.
Aye. Why did you pick Zoe Ball? Anybody? Sorry, ball's not been seen since '98.
Do you know what I'm worried about is remember in Germany we had to teach him how to drop pins to tell us where he was.
Yes.
I can see this happening in London during the week. He's going to be dropping pins all over the place.
Gabs will look after me. The first question I asked was, how far from the hotel to the gig? 5-minute walk.
That suit you, does it? Good.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, let's concentrate on the football, because the thing's slightly more important than your future
Speech
this week. Hugh, remind us of your teaser, please, one more time.
I have played with Shane Duffy and Lee Hodson. I have been managed by Mark McGee and Lee Johnson. I played for 2 Scottish clubs in 2 different decades, and I won 1 major trophy while playing here. Who am I?
Chris wants to throw in Aidan McGeady.
No.
Gordy Boy would like to suggest Adam Virgo.
No.
Craig Meikle thinks Declan John.
No.
Great answers coming in. Greg's had another go with Paul Hartley.
No. I'll say no, he's too busy.
Did I say it? Oh, sorry.
No, he's too busy talking to Mark.
Paul Hartley involved in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Cove today.
They were 2-0 up last I checked, but that may well have changed. So they were playing Queen of the South, weren't
they? 0-0 from the first leg.
It was indeed.
Yep.
How's East 5 going, Dick Campbell?
I'm just checking them for you, don't you worry. 2-1 now, Cove, into 5 minutes of additional time there, so that could get a bit fraught.
Oh.
East 5 currently are 3-0 up on Edinburgh City.
Oh, they were losing 1-0 in the first leg.
So they'll be absolutely fine.
Airdrie home and hosed, I take it.
Well, they had a very comfortable first leg lead, didn't they?
3-1, was it?
I think they were 3-0 up. They're 2-1 up today.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I expected that, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty comfortable there. And one final check for the meantime, since we're on the topic of East Kilbride, still 3-1 up against Bonnyrigg Rose. Couple of changes. Celtic, McCowan on for Hatate, who scored. Adam Ida goes off for Johnny Kenny. Hugh, a lot of clamour for him to get some game time this week.
Yeah, Celtic have got to find out whether he truly is a Celtic player or whether he goes out on loan again next season. So he doesn't have much time, but he's got to seize the chance whenever it comes. If he'd scored at Ibrox last Sunday, then of course he'd be a hero for one half of the city, but poor old Daizen Maeda was still jet lagged at the time and didn't give him the appropriate pass.
Motherwell Davor comes on for Slattery. Wonder if these are amongst the players that are trying to catch the eye of Michael Wimmer for next season. Motherwell have so many players, you'd imagine a big turnaround in that break.
I think that is an important point, Gordon, you make, because such a big squad, the manager, this is going to be the first real time he's going to be allowed to do a wee bit of surgery to his squad. Obviously they'll have to offload some of those players, so you are genuinely playing for your future, even though these games don't mean much. So big summer for Motherwell. Michael Wimmer coming up.
Well, interestingly, this week gave a new contract to Paul McGinn, captain, and very good and very reliable, but Michael Wimmer's never seen him, so probably in the flesh, as Motherwell manager, so it must speak volumes to the impact he had before, or the level of analysis that Michael Wimmer's done, having watched his previous games back, because he's, like I said, he's never managed them.
What age is he?
Gets a new contract. I think he's about 34, I think, Paul McGinn maybe.
Well, Scott Allen was talking last night, and he said that he has the highest admiration for Paul McGinn, having played with him at Hibs, and really rates him.
Yeah, I think obviously a popular player at Motherwell, just trying to make sure his fitness is back up to where he'll want it to be.
What about Stephen O'Donnell's he got another year at Motherwell?
I think he triggered a year, didn't he, earlier on in the season?
I'm thinking about some managers go in, with an age group in mind, or an average age that they want their squad. And you've got McGinn, you've got Andy Hardy, Stephen O'Donnell. I wonder if he's thinking about lowering that age of his squad.
Well, because the average age instantly jumps up when your main player is no longer 18 as well. Because again, presumably everyone goes. Jordan McGee is going to come in from Dundee, 28. So you're right. Wonder what the rest will look like. Right, 4 minutes added at Tannadice. St Mirren 2-0 up, so they should be fine. 10 minutes added in Perth.
What?
Roger Hanna's in for the long haul. 10 minutes added in Perth.
Ooh. The very last thing that Simo Valakari needed.
Yeah, every 10 minutes.
David Friel is 8 minutes behind that.
18 minutes?
No, he's not. He's only played 82 minutes.
Of course, they were late out, yeah.
So
he's got another
beer out face. He'll be blistered
up on the 50 just now. Reapply.
He had to borrow someone's sun cream and put it on. He didn't bring a hat. Didn't bring a hat or sun cream or sunglasses. And you said, listen, most of them will be sitting in the shade earlier on, but see that new main stand at Tynecastle and you're quite low down, that sun will just be on him the full day.
He goes better out when the central heating goes on, he says.
Andy Halliday taking off, gets a good reception from the Hearts fans.
Do you think he's applauding both sides? Andy's like that,
he'll be waving at.
Yeah,
probably.
Kissing the badge, the mother will win, then taking it off and he's got a heart strip on.
Should I send your message? Oh,
you okay there?
Sorry, that was my watch. Shall I send your message?
Yeah, big Brian Graham.
There was that Sprangler injury. There was the VAR check for Roger Hannah between St Johnstone and County. That's why there's 10 added on. Simo Valakari, Hugh, as you say, will be besides himself.
Well,
how were your nerves when 7 went up last night in a game with no VAR?
Honestly, I wasn't happy. I'm thinking, where does 7 minutes come from? 7 minutes last week against Livy, 7 minutes this week.
But you look calm. I've got to say, I was very impressed with you.
What, my calm demeanour?
Yeah.
Well, you've known me for the past 10 years. You shouldn't be
I know
that
you're
surprised.
Boring, but you look boring and calm's two different
putting me
things.
in with Fraser there in the boring.
Is that your way? Because you genuinely you
didn't even celebrate.
You didn't give it a big licks on the celebrations. Is that not your style?
No. What do you want me to do? Run about the
Champions League?
Everybody else was.
You run up the touchline to the fans.
I celebrated when the goal went in. But the camera wouldn't have been on me. But then you need to keep calm.
I like it. He's composed.
Yeah, he's learning.
Because what if you go up the other side? And, you know what I mean? You look like an idiot.
Your heart rate's right up.
What's the feeling? Obviously, you just beat Livingston in the final game of the season. You know them well. Do you have that? Where's the balance there between sort of confidence, obviously, that you can go and do it, and an appreciation for just what a slog it is when you're the team that finishes fourth and you seem to be dropping like flies?
Well, the amount of knocks, injuries we've picked up, obviously it is difficult because over the course of the season, Livingston, and Falkirk were by far the best teams in the division, way further ahead in points than we are. But head to head, obviously anything can happen. We drew against them 1-1 for Hull. The game was incredibly tight, then obviously beat them, but it's going to be tough. Of course it is going to be tough. They've got a lot of good experienced players, but you never know. Not many expected us to beat Falkirk, then Livy. Not many expected us to beat Ayr. So when you're on that sort of run and the squad feels good about themselves, anything can happen.
We will be taking your calls soon, don't forget, and I would love to hear from you Partick Thistle fans. How good was last night? Give us a call. That could have been the moment. James Forrest was through down the side of the box, a bit of a half chance, and it was saved. The flag maybe, or a VAR check maybe, would have ruled it out in the end. There was a hint of offside, but nevertheless it's the closest we've seen in theory to James Forrest adding to that run. He's looking for his 17th consecutive season of scoring a goal for Celtic. Must be hard though, because we spoke about penalties, which is an obvious opportunity, Mark, but apart from that you don't want to force it either, do you, and start just shooting wildly or making decisions you wouldn't normally make.
Nah, and I don't think he's the type of player that would. I think there's plenty of players that would do that, and this man probably would have been the same if he was on such a stat. But I don't think James Forrest.
I don't look. It'd be a great achievement, but I agree with Mark. I don't think that's in the back of his. Look, he'd love to do it, of course, but other players would be desperate and give me everything.
9 minutes added now at Rugby Park as well. Starting from now.
Have we got enough time in the show to get Roger and David?
This
and
might be
Fraser?
the first time we take phone calls before we've heard some of the full-time reports. That is quite remarkable. And by contrast, it's finished at Tannadice. What a result. Well done, St Mirren.
Yeah, absolutely. The season's petering out for Dundee United. Celtic took 5 off them at Tannadice. St Mirren have gone up there and done what St Mirren do, get about their business, man drawn.
Got a goal at Rugby Park. Which way is it gone?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It goes to the home side. Robbie D's a simple header at the back post, and that should be that 3-1 killie. Is Armstrong's corner.
Our mate from Germany.
He was the first person we met in Munich, wasn't it?
Good lad, him.
He was having a great night, and he's having a good night tonight. Finishes it off, and I was all set up for the famous 2-2 between Killie and Dundee there, wasn't it?
I know, that's why I thought today. That's why I went the draw.
Job done.
But it keeps
safe.
Keeps that Ross County Dundee debate going for another few days to Wednesday.
Well, there's so much time added on in Perth that one's not over the line yet.
Ross County ain't getting back in that.
No.
Just something I meant to tell you about a few moments ago, a debut for McArdle, Hugh.
Sean McArdle, on the bench at Ibrox. I always think of the parents, I hope his parents are sitting there at Celtic Park and how proud they would feel. Brendan Rodgers, as I say, doesn't give free passes into the team. You have to earn it. And McArdle getting a precious cameo role at Celtic Park, and as I say, I always think of the parents. If they're there, they must be bursting with pride.
Absolutely. Mark, I did wonder before we knocked the playoff chat in the head for now, what did you make of Kilmarnock trolling Ayr after the defeat last night? Did you notice this?
I did see it, yes.
What were they doing?
So they were posting on Twitter, basically just taking the mickey out of Ayr for losing.
The official Kilmarnock?
Yes.
See, not on your day, that didn't happen when you were their manager.
Because I used to beat them.
There was one that just simply said boing boing, I think was that got lots of likes. And there was another one sort of mocking them for their title run.
Surprised when Kilmarnock were still kind of in a relegation battle. Obviously it's safe enough tonight, but very presumptuous that.
What did you think of the stadium then?
The stadium?
Yeah, with the new stand.
Dreadful. The new stand's good. The changing rooms are
Is it still the same?
One of the smallest, and they're right next to each other. No room to swing a cat in. Tiny.
Did you have a few? Right, okay. That's no change. That was my name up on the wall or something.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the statue either.
3 added Celtic Park. Get ready to give us your calls, Celtic fans, and assess the game for us today. 5 added. David Friel's blistering. His skin is really, really struggling here. Lennon Miller took a sore one. Hugh, let's do it. Why not?
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I played with Shane Duffy and Lee Hodson. I was managed by Mark McGee and Lee Johnson. I played for 2 Scottish clubs in 2 different decades, and I won 1 major trophy while playing here. I am Chris Iwelumo.
Chris Iwelumo, well done if you got that one right. Now, where is the podium? Do we have the podium yet to see who got it right? Let me try and find it.
Nobody's getting that.
Not a chance.
Do you know, I'd forgotten completely that he played in the Scottish Cup final of 2014 for St Johnstone against Dundee United when he was on the bench, as was Mark Wilson.
I still never got over that.
I'm glad I didn't get that, because I couldn't spell his name.
I think this is it. I think we've done it.
Somebody got one?
I think no one got it. I think it's the first time. I think
Never got that, would you, Mark?
Shane Duffy and Lee Hodson's the player.
Played with Shane Duffy at Burnley 2010-2011.
We had to try and trick people because they always get it right.
Managed by Mark McGee at Brighton.
I think we've beaten them. I think we've finally.
Can't even remember them at Brighton.
Them.
Played with St Mirren 95-98.
Oh, listen to this.
Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Is late drama, is it enough? Lyle Cameron with his second 3-2 Kilmarnock. 4 minutes still to go.
No,
still time for one last chance.
I don't think so. I think we'll finish 3-2.
Well, I tell you what, Dundee will be right after them. Any sort of possession they get, direct.
Sums Dundee up though, absolutely no issue scoring goals. Score for fun, but just concede crazy amounts at the other end.
Was that 70? Is it? What we at?
Another 3 today conceded.
76. 76 this season.
That's incredible, isn't it? 76 goals in a season you lose.
Well, not finished yet.
Yeah, that's true. Another 2 games to go.
Scored 54 though. Other way.
Well, you've got to say they've been entertaining.
Yeah.
At full time, Celtic Park. Have a listen, Celtic fans, and give us a call right now. What did you make of it today? Here's Andrew McLean.
Celtic 3, Hibs 1, the full-time score. It was a bit of a slower start to things for Celtic, who fell behind in the first half, but a great reaction, and goals from Kuhn, Ida and Hatate mean it's a comfortable victory in the end for Brendan Rodgers' side. They had the warning sign when Kasper Schmeichel had to spread himself to make himself big, and saved from Martin Boyle in the first half. It had taken a lucky break to get to him that time, and it did again 25 minutes in. Josh Campbell's shot deflecting into his path, centre of the box. He just rolled it past Kasper Schmeichel to silence the home crowd and give the visitors the advantage, but Celtic showed that good reaction towards the end of the half to go ahead before the break. They got the equaliser as Anthony Ralston played a ball over the top. Adam Ida and Rocky Bashira were battling away. That allowed space for Nicholas Kuhn just to nick the ball by Jordan Smith, and he had the empty net just to pass the ball into. Kuhn with the assist just before the break to give them the lead. A ball over the top for Adam Ida, who had missed a couple of chances earlier in the half, but made no mistake firing across Smith and into the back of the net for 2-1. Celtic ahead at the break, and despite Hibs trying to apply some pressure at times, the champions managed to see out the game pretty comfortably in the end, with a cushion coming around the hour mark, I should say. Maeda's ball from the left, it bounced up for Nicholas Kuhn. Then there was some nice one-touch passing from him to McGregor to Engels, who then laid it off for Reo Hatate. He had space about 15 yards out and did really well, first time with his instep, just to guide it into that bottom corner to make it 3-1. There was even time for 17-year-old Celtic midfielder Sean McArdle to come on for his debut. The Celtic players out there high-fiving with each other, showing the crowd the appreciation. The next time they'll be back here is in 7 days' time, when they'll lift the Premiership trophy, but they've got a trip to Pittodrie first. The full-time score, Celtic 3, Hibs 1.
And it's finished. A bit of late drama, but it's finished anyway for Roger Hannah at St Johnstone, Ross County. Are St Johnstone still in the top flight for now, Roger?
The Saints live to fight another day. Gordon, St Johnstone 2, Ross County 1. Incredible drama at McDermott Park as Simo Valakari keeps St Johnstone in the Premiership just about. They're now within 3 points of County after inflicting a 7th consecutive defeat on Don Cowie's side, who are now anchored in that relegation playoff place ahead of the final 2 games of the season. Saints started brightly. Adama Sidibe and Sam Curtis both missing chances, but they took the lead in 31 minutes. Outstanding Elliot Watts, corner from the left, made by the head of Daniels Balodis. It hit the underside of the bar, came down and crept in at the foot of the post, despite the best efforts of county keeper Jordan Amisa. Sidibe then had a snapshot deflected over the bar, with Amisa backpedaling and Saints well on top at that stage. But County came into the game before the break. Alex Samuel had a chance, Ronan Hale too had an opportunity, and then he equalised in 41 minutes. Josh Nisbet free and Kieran Phillips down the right, and his low cross netted in the near post for Samuel. His first goal since a draw with the Saints in Dingle last September. At the start of the second half, Uche Ikpeazu should have put Saints ahead, but he fired over the bar after an amazing scramble in the 6-yard box. An incredible miss, but Saints did regain the lead on the hour mark. Watt guiding a shot past Amisa after being teed up by Sidibe. County thought they were level in 82 minutes. A corner swung in from the right. It wasn't clear. There was a scramble in the box, and Ronan Hill smashed the ball home. But after a long VAR check with referee John Beaton and the VAR official Greg Aiken, the goal was ruled out with Hale offside. There were 10 minutes added after 2 lengthy stoppages. The VAR checked an injury to Saints skipper Sven Sprangler. In the 100th minute, goalkeeper Amisa up for 2 different corners. He then managed to scamper back and have a save from Saints sub Mackenzie Kirk. There was even drama as the game lapsed into 101st minute. County defender Zach Ashworth sent off after a challenge, and it looked like some dissent to referee Beaton. County are in free fall. Saints might just get out of this. St Johnstone 2, Ross County 1.
Huge day in Perth. What about the capital, David Friel?
Full time, Gordon, Hearts 3, Motherwell 0. And if these are the final days of Lawrence Shankland's Hearts craze, clearly intent on going out on a high. Followed up 2 goals against Ross County last weekend with another double against Motherwell here. It's been a difficult season for him, but Shankland looks back to his best, and I think in this form it's fair to say there's no shortage of suitors come the summer. Hearts might try and get him a new contract. The new Hearts manager might get him a contract, but there will be clubs out there looking at him. Alan Forrest also netted for Hearts as Liam Fox made it 2 wins out of 2 as interim manager. As for Motherwell, it was a day to forget really. There wasn't too much goalmouth action before Shankland fired Hearts ahead on the half-hour mark. Poor defending from Motherwell allowed the ball to reach the Hearts captain. He didn't mess about, finding the bottom corner from 22 yards. Motherwell thought they'd levelled in 38 minutes. Callum Slattery the ball in the net. However, referee Ryan Lee ruled it out after a lengthy VAR check for all manner of reasons, really. Motherwell came out after the second half, tried to have a go. Tom Sparrow had a chance, Ryan Fulton made the save, but then Hearts upped it with 2 goals in 2 minutes on the hour mark. First, James Penrice picked out Lon Shankland inside the box, great cross and a great headed finish into the bottom corner, and then Alan Forrest was alert to make it 3-0 from close range after Jan Danda had a curling shot saved. Shankland went off to a standing ovation before the end, and if he does depart, Hearts are going to miss him. Full time, Hearts 3, Motherwell 0.
And it's finished. Dramatic game as well at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock and Dundee was watched by Fraser Wishart.
It was a finish. Kilmarnock 3, Dundee 2. Kilmarnock fans absolutely delighted, but it was a nervy end to the game. But they are safe. They'll be in the Premiership next season. 3 wins in a row post-split have made them safe, and they're absolutely delighted, Kilmarnock fans, as the players go round the pitch. A deserved win. Dundee might have a lot of the ball, but Kelly had the better chances, and goal from Armstrong, Anderson and Dees. But it was Lyle Cameron with the 2 from Dundee have given Kilmarnock the 3 points. Homeside ahead at half-time, 31st minute penalty. Armstrong with a free kick to the back post. Seth Palmer holding Liam Donnelly, jumping for the ball. Donnelly went down. Referee Don Robertson gave the penalty. Brief VAR check, penalty kick. Armstrong stepped up, top right, great penalty right into the top hand corner. Kelly could have had more. Carson made a couple of smart saves. Bruce Anderson missed an absolute sitter. Dundee had offered little in attack despite having 62% possession, but Kelly started the second half again on top. Murray played in Ndaba, run into the box, shot wildly over the bar. Tony Dock unhappy in the technical area, even more so with Stuart Finlay. Somehow missed a header. Brilliant Washington free kick, back post, a couple of yards out. Stuart made poor contact on the ball and the ball went wide. Dundee brought on Adewumi for Tiffany. Sub did well immediately. He couldn't get purchase on his shot. Then a dramatic moment. Danny McInnes brought on skipper Kyle Vassell for Bobby Wales. Great reception for the skipper. Literally the first thing he does is go and mark Simon Murray. The ball's played over the top of the 2 of them. He pushes Murray. I thought it was very risky. Don Robertson said no penalty. VAR said go to the screen. The screen I don't think was working. There was a technical problem because Don Robertson wasn't steering the screen. He was waiting. He then said no penalty. Not sure if it was the screen or maybe he did see it and felt it was stick by his original decision. I thought it was a penalty kick. 75 minutes gone, came the equaliser. Adewumi did really well. Turning pass to Lyle Cameron. Really brave by the midfield player. Bursting into the box 12 yards out. He lunged for the ball as a goalkeeper, and Ndaba challenged him. The ball just bounced off the goalkeeper and dribbled into the back of the net. But they're only level for 2 minutes. Kelly took lead again. Simple goal. Murray crossed on the left. Anderson got in front of the defender. 6-yard header bulleted past the goalkeeper. Subs Polworth, McKenzie and Vassell missed good chances. In 91 minutes, it looked like Robbie Dees had sealed the thing with a win. Simple goal, back post header from a deep Armstrong corner into the back of the net. But then it all changed again. 95 minutes, Lyle Cameron again. He got his second, a really good 20-yard shot low into the corner with 9 minutes stoppage time. But the stoppage, the clock had said 10 minutes. With Josh Mulligan's shot was saved really well at his right-hand post by Kieran O'Hara. Focus now on Dundee. They can still be automatically relegated, or in the playoffs, there's 5 ahead of St Johnstone, 2 ahead of Ross County. They play both this week. A nervy week ahead for the Dens Park fans. Full time at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock 3, Dundee 2.
St Mirren fans, you'll be happy with what you're about to hear. Let's get Dave Galloway's take on events at Tannadice. Get your calls in right now, please. 01419511025. What did you make of today's action?
Well, it's finished Dundee United 0, St Mirren 2. The visitors' first 2 threaten. Man drawn from outside the box, curled one just wide. The hosts hit back, and Hemming showed sharp reactions to save Doherty's shot from 6 yards. Play going from end to end. Idowu's shot rippled the side netting, but Dalby should have put Dundee United in front, heading over from close range from Middleton's cross. St Mirren took a deserved lead after 31 minutes with a brilliant man-drawn goal. Ali Biosu found him outside the box and he curled low into the bottom corner. It appeared that Ayunga had missed a great chance to make it 2-0, shooting over after being put clean through. However, his blushes were spared when offside was given, but United skipper Doherty headed Ferry's crossover when he really should have hit the target. Into the second half, and the Tangerines made a brisk start to the second period. Dalby shooting just wide, then he saw his header parried away by Hemming. Mandron went on a great charge for Saints, and his low drive was touched round the post at full stretch by Walton. It was 2-0 after 66 minutes. Nice slow finish by Ayunga after Idowu picked him out, but the defending was questionable, and that was being kind. Phillips blazed over when a loose ball fell to him. That really should have been number 3, and Ali Biosu's drive was deflected over. The Buddies well in command, a really good performance overall, and Ayunga finished off a lovely passing move, only to be flagged up for offside. So that's 3 defeats in a row for the Tangerines, and the Saints, listen to the fans here, good 1,300 of them through here at Tannadice. They're now just 2 points behind them. Dundee United 0, St Mirren 2.
It's over to you. Come on then, 01419511025. You must be heading back from Celtic Park now. What did you make of it? Who caught your eye? Who impressed you? Yet another win, some more goals heading towards the Cup final. St Mirren fans, it's a contender for result of the day for sure. Your 5th place finish could be on, still in 6th, but it's a very narrow gap now. Are you dreaming of what this season could still turn out to be? That's St Johnstone living to fight another day. Kilmarnock safe. It's really now going to be those bottom 3 sides to battle out, so lots to get through. Partick Thistle fans, I'm assuming the headaches might still be in place, but we'd like to know what you made of last night, and we can preview Rangers Aberdeen tomorrow as well. Give us a call right now and we'll speak to you next.
It's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are here. It's 0141 951 1025. So give us a call. What did you make of the game at Celtic Park today? What impressed you about the performance? Who caught your eye? Maybe someone didn't and you're a harsh critic. Well, by all means, get it over to us. The more pressing matters in terms of what is to be won and lost still at the end of the season. What about you, St Mirren fans? How are you feeling? You have come to life after the split and you're very much in the hunt for 5th, now just 2 points behind Dundee United. St Johnstone live to fight another day. It will be between Dundee and Ross County and St Johnstone for those bottom 2 places, because Killie are safe. So how does that feel, Kilmarnock fans? Who knows what Derek McInnes will say this evening? That might be as interesting as the result itself at the end of a week that he's been heavily linked with the Hearts vacancy. Speaking of Hearts, battered Motherwell 3-0. Steelmen, what are you saying to that disappointing game after a bit of promise in recent weeks? Give us your thoughts. Partick Thistle fans, how much did you party last night? Make Mark Wilson jealous, because he had to be professional and prepare for the next game, but you could do what you like. So how was last night? What did you make of it? Can you go all the way? And of course the small matter of that nice rivalry we always have between Rangers and Aberdeen tomorrow, Hugh.
Well, now that Aberdeen know that the Hibs have lost, the incentive is with Jimmy Tilleen to go to Ibrox, see if he can get 3 points there. But they don't travel well, Aberdeen. That's one of their shortcomings. They do not travel well. And Rangers, Barry Ferguson, the incentive is obvious. He hasn't won a game at Ibrox as interim manager. And Rangers haven't won a game at Ibrox since February. So there's the incentive for Rangers, but Aberdeen have a points incentive. 12 o'clock kick-off, the weather's good, the sun is out, it may be a kind of sleepy atmosphere at Ibrox, who knows?
On today's games, plenty of goals round about the country. Celtic cruising over the line against Hibs after a rocky start. But the big ones, obviously Kilmarnock against Dundee 3-2, but the big one, St Johnstone, Simo Valakari asked for everything out his side today to give themselves a fighting chance in the last 2 games, and they've certainly done that. St Johnstone, Ross County and Dundee all in a dogfight to survive and to avoid that relegation playoff place.
I highlighted at the beginning of the show at 2 o'clock that the most important thing for me was that bottom 4. How it was going to look at this time, 5:15. Usually I say 4:45, but the way the games are going nowadays. And all of a sudden, St Johnstone gave themselves a lifeline there. Ross County and Dundee under severe pressure. And then we look forward to tomorrow, Rangers Aberdeen, and I think Hugh quite rightly says, Barry Ferguson is desperate for a win at Ibrox, but Aberdeen are chasing down 3rd place.
Monday night, you know the drill. Roger Hanna usually and Andy Halliday pick their result of the weekend. I wonder if St Mirren will be high up on that list. Callum is a St Mirren fan. How good is this run you're on, Callum?
It's unbelievable. It's genuinely unbelievable. I think when we get into the top 6, if you ask pretty much any fan, that was an achievement really. It was making sure you were away for that wee cluster of teams that were in the bottom 6 fighting to stay up. But the run we've went on since the split, gave us a real chance to get into Europe again, and it's unbelievable. The team just never fails to beat your expectations anymore, to be honest.
Great point, Mark, because we all said it, and I'm glad that Callum, as a St Mirren fan, is kind of, so it's not like it was just us on the outside. We all said on that final day, making the top 6 for the 6th place team was actually about escaping relegation.
Yeah.
No, it was the best way to keep yourself safe from the jeopardy of the playoff spot. Stephen Robinson has thrown that back in everyone's face and just gone up and up and up in his expectation and his performance levels. We said again, if you throw in even, selling all Lasagna, it was almost like it was a great piece of business, but it was almost like a kind of sign of, well, we've maybe done our bit for this season. We don't need him here anymore. That might have been how people looked at it. But going up to Tannadice, winning 2-0, on they go.
Well, I think you could excuse them for probably getting their feet up and enjoying their holidays or upcoming holidays, but they've certainly not been like that at all. And they start off with the visit of Rangers, and they were unlucky, I thought, not to win that game. So it showed intent of what they were all about in these remaining games. Obviously, last week against Aberdeen, good 1-0 victory, but then it's different than away to Tannadice, where Jim Goodwin has got his eyes on the place above him trying to catch Aberdeen. So it's not as if it's a meaningless game for Dundee United. They are going at it trying to win that game, and St Mirren go up there and, by the sounds of it, win pretty easily. So it's just been a remarkable end to the season, and I wonder how long Stephen Robinson's going to be at St Mirren. That's the only thing.
Oh, there's nothing worse, Callum, honestly. You're trying to enjoy your weekend, Callum, and this guy's moving your manager on. But in all seriousness, is there a kind of stage that he's just continuing to catch the eye?
Yeah, I think so, but you just need to kind of enjoy it whilst we can. I'm 17, so this is easily the best St Mirren team I've ever seen, and probably there's people a lot older than me that will be the best team they've seen as well. So you just need to enjoy times like this whilst we can, I think, because I've certainly seen it be a lot worse than what it is now, and he's definitely the best manager I've seen us have. So the longer we can keep on to him, the better. I'm not naive enough to think that there won't be teams looking at him, but we just need to try and keep a hold of him for as long as we can and enjoy the football whilst we've got him, I think.
Were you there today, Callum, or just keeping an eye and ear on it?
No, I couldn't make it through today. I was gutted, but I definitely kept an eye at the house. We were excellent again. We played really well. So.
Fast forward a week. St Mirren go to Celtic Park. Normally it's carnival time when Celtic get the championship trophy, but St Mirren could be going there with a real strong sense of purpose, and they'll give Celtic a proper workout, because there might be something in it for St Mirren, something big in it for St Mirren. So that's the kind of job that Stephen Robinson has done.
I'm more interested in Wednesday night, Gordon, that little 5-mile patch between Ibrox and St Mirren Park, because it's all going to really look at those two fixtures. St Mirren welcoming Hibs at the same time. Dundee United will be down at Ibrox. St Mirren fans will be praying that Barry Ferguson's side eventually find their winning touch at home. You wouldn't put it past the St Mirren team, as good as Hibs are, winning that at home. So that could be the night that it swings, and then a nervy wait on the final day.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant if you're a St Mirren fan. The thing I like about the club is they now sell out their stadium. Everyone's bought into it. They love going along on a Saturday and watching their team. Stephen Robinson deserves all the praise in the world. Look, the one thing you can say about him, he knows how to get results in Scottish football. You've seen the job he done at Motherwell. Yes, he went down south of Morecambe, he went to. I don't think he had the greatest time. He comes back up to St Mirren. He builds his recruitment. Some people criticise it. Sometimes his style of play. I don't. He goes, he knows his best team. He knows his recruitment, he knows his style of football, and he goes and gets results, and the proof of the pudding's there. I thought that was a great result this afternoon, I really did.
Sore one for your old team, Mark, because they're the team that's just promoted. So really, even if you had offered them a 6th place finish at the start of the season, I think they would have taken it. But once you then get there, Jim Goodwin said that he's gone on record, you start reassessing your goals, you push them up and up. So he won't want it to tail off like this. It is now 3 defeats on the bounce after 3 wins on a bounce.
Yeah, well, I think once they touched the dizzying heights, was it 3rd place they got to, and it looked like they were in a real battle with Aberdeen for that 3rd place before Hibs just came up the outside and overtook them all. Look, Jim will sit down at the end of the season and no doubt he'll think this has been a remarkable season. He should get huge credit, but I know the standards he holds once he gets there. So of course, run of 3 results on the bounce, 3 defeats on the bounce, should I say, will disappoint him, but he's still in there, he's still scrapping away, still got opportunities, and you know, I think he gets a bit overlooked because of the newness of Jimmy Thilleen and then David Gray, everything he went through to propel Hibs. Jim Goodwin has been in there with a new squad and still battling away for a European place. I think that's remarkable also.
Thank you to Callum for kicking us off today. What did you make of the other games out there? 0141 951 1025. It is the perfect time to call and we could get you on next.
The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Mark Wilson, fresh from Partick Thistle's playoff heroics last night, is here alongside Hugh Keevins and Gordon DL. I like you two as well. It's just you don't have like a tagline at the moment like he does. Is that okay?
I'm just me.
And that's enough for us. Don't you worry about that. 0141 951 1025. Looking back on last night, if you so wish, or today, or even ahead to tomorrow. Celtic beat Hibs by 3-1. Let's get Bill's thoughts on it. Hi, Bill.
Hi there.
What did you make of it?
I thought Hibs were lucky to go away with a 3-1 deficit, considering the amount of pressure that Celtic put them under. I think overall the stats were 76% Celtic and 23% to Hibernian, but Celtic had 92% accuracy with their passing, opposed to 70-odd% with Hibs. But I thought for 1 minute the old Iron Curtain had come down, the old Rangers Iron Curtain, the way Hibs kept playing offside in the first half. I think Celtic were maybe a bit over-eager, but Hibs were certainly playing with an Iron Curtain at the back. But the scoreline, I think, flattered them. At the end of the day, it was a fairly routine result for Celtic. The one thing I would take from the game was that, in view of the fact that Jota's going to be out for 69 months, we could do with a goal-scoring winger. Why not sign up Martin Boyle? He's going to be a free agent at the end of the summer.
Well, let's start on the last point. I like that. I like a creative suggestion on here. What are you shaking your head at?
No, for me. Martin Boyle's not a free-scoring winger. What's happened to Martin Boyle's been through the middle, and he's playing as a central player, and he's scoring goals. He's having a great season. Now, good player, good experienced player, good pace. He's not what Celtic would even look at. So, as much as that's not been disrespectful to him, I don't think Martin Boyle will get into Celtic and play in the wide area.
I feel like we had this discussion a few years ago.
We did.
He's now 32. Is that maybe the bit, Mark, that if it wasn't a goer then, because he dipped a bit maybe last year or the start of this year, but he was excellent a few seasons ago. You remember the game against Rangers at Hampden and stuff. You know, he was brilliant a few years ago, and it never came to anything.
Well, I think back then, obviously a few years younger, playing in the wide area more consistently, he would have fitted more what Celtic would have been after. And even at that, he wouldn't have been, a regular star. He would have been somebody who probably, contributed off the bench. But you're right, 32 years old, he's playing through the middle for a reason. No, I don't think he'd be in Celtic's mould to look at.
He doesn't fit the player trading model, and therefore, much as he might be amenable to the idea, it won't come his way. I just wonder if Bill can enlighten us. Celtic having all of that possession, Hibs aren't there to entertain Celtic fans. They're there to do the best for Hibs, and if they can get a point out of the day, then they're satisfied. But Bill, to what extent did Celtic contribute to it only being 3-1? Did they have chances that they could have taken?
Yes, I think they had chances that they could have taken. And I think particularly in the first half when Celtic were caught offside so many times, it was partly down to their exuberance at trying to go forward, which caught them out. But there was no doubt that Hibs were playing a destructive, back line. But to say Celtic were more than due what they got and could probably have had another couple of goals at the very least.
I just want to correct something. I think I said earlier 19 for Martin Boyle this season. It's 18. I was including the one he got for Australia. Bill, are you impressed with the way that Celtic played today, just considering, look, I know they're favourites to win the game, so you expect it in a way, but these maybe would be the types of games because they have won the league. There is a cup final round the corner. Hibs are actually a good team. They're one of the better teams in our league. Celtic maybe could have come off it today but didn't.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Even right up into the last couple of minutes, Celtic were chasing balls, doing the pressing against Hibs. So there's no doubt, in my opinion, that they thoroughly deserved the result and probably more. And it's just a wee point on Martin Boyle. I didn't say that Celtic would need to play him on the wing. We're going to lose the number of goals that Jota contributes. And sometimes it might not be a bad idea for us to play two through the middle.
Well, as I say, it doesn't fit the Celtic player trading model, and I really don't think with the best will in the world that it will come to pass. There's one other source of fascination for me. Celtic made 5 substitutions and Maeda still played for the whole 90 minutes and whatever was added on. It's astonishing. We spoke about possible rotation, the Aberdeen game to come midweek, the cup final 2 weeks away, but 5 substitutions and Maeda sticks with it the whole day long.
He's just a machine, Mark. He's actually gone 3 domestic games without scoring, which feels like a big deal. I think it's only the second, or I think it's the third time this season he's gone 3, which is not a lot. But yes, it's some effort, isn't it?
Incredible. I mean, it's a good time to wind down in terms of goals when the league's done and dusted, because you want to contribute when it really matters. But he'll want to get back on the score sheet just before the cup final. But the amount of minutes he plays, the distances he must cover, the high speed running, incredible. And he just fits the mould. He fits the plan that Brendan Rodgers wants for a wide player. But also you shift him in the middle, like Daz touches on time and time again. He does that as well, and he stretches back lines. So on Bill's point about Hibs' line, if they were playing that high and trying to play offside, it's incredibly brave to play that way against a Celtic side containing guys like Maeda, who will run unselfishly for the team time and time again and behind. And obviously that's what happened, and they end up getting the rewards in the end. But an incredible player this season for Celtic, Maeda.
Yeah, he's been absolutely brilliant, and he'll pick up the player of the year for the sports writers as well, no doubt about that, and deservedly so. I like Maeda through the middle, right? I can totally understand what Brendan Rodgers is doing just now, because he does contribute there as well. But for me, if I was playing my big cup final, Maeda would be my centre forward, because I just think defenders are terrified of his space, especially through the middle. They drop off deep, they leave the space for Celtic's midfield to go and dominate. It'll be interesting to see. But take nothing away from Adam Maeda. He's come into the team, he's scoring goals. He scored 2 up at Tannadice, he scored the goal at Ibrox, and he's got on the goal sheet today. So he's doing his job, and he's certainly making a claim for a cup final against Aberdeen.
Thank you very much to Bill. If you want to join in like Bill has, please do. 01419511025. I suppose, Mark, for Hibs, that this is not the game that you would judge them by. You look at the run they've gone on, it's been fantastic. They still sit in third. Dundee United are pretty much done really in that sense. They remain 6 points behind Hibs, so not officially, but it would take quite something. And Aberdeen might well go to Ibrox tomorrow. I suppose there's no fear factor now, according to Barry Ferguson. But you're not going to hold it against Hibs too much, going to Celtic Park and losing ultimately.
Oh, not at all. And I think the way they start the game obviously lets you know what kind of place they're in just now. And it was a similar story when they went there before. They're brave. I think they play the game the right way. I think David Gray's got a good tune out his side, but no doubt they've only lost 10 games this season. You think of that with the start that they've had, because it seemed much worse at the time. It seemed almost like they were losing every single week. Of course they weren't. They were maybe picking up the occasional draw here and there, but that winning run has taken them to 15 wins this season, and they're still not done yet. So I think it's been a great season for David Gray, considering the start he had, no doubt about it. And I think the Hibs board will do well in the summer to back him, and who knows where he can lead that team to next year.
Yeah, I agree with Mark. I think if you're a Hibs fan, you're walking away from Celtic Park today, it's always got to be difficult. Brendan Rodgers has got everyone on their toes. I think the Hibs fans would have been going along there thinking, like we were all saying, I wonder if he'll play some of the young boys and hopefully get an opportunity. Celtic lined up with a very strong starting 11, and Hugh quite rightly says probably if everyone's fit, there's only 2 changes for a cup final team. So it shows you how much Brendan Rodgers looked at Hibs, respected them as a team, everything about them, but you were always going to be up against it at Celtic Park against Celtic.
Okay, let's bring in Stephen, who's a Rangers fan. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good, yourself?
Good, thanks. You finally going to get this home win under Barry Ferguson tomorrow?
Yep.
What makes you so confident?
I think because the way he's been playing, the way he's been managing the players really recently, he's done really well.
I know they're impressive, and Hugh, they like the way he's speaking and whatever, but the results haven't been good.
The numbers don't stack up. 12 games, 4 wins, none of them at Ibrox. So Stephen's either easily pleased or he hasn't really looked at the stats, because that's a poor record and it has to improve. I don't think Barry Ferguson has any chance of being Rangers manager under the new American regime, but for his own personal pride, he doesn't want to go out of the job of interim manager with people saying he never won a game at Ibrox.
Who would you like to be your new manager, Stephen?
I think I would love the new manager to be Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, it's a name we hear a lot, Mark. I'm fascinated to see how it plays out with him. If they want something shiny and new and a total fresh start, then it just can't be him, irrespective of how you rate his first spell.
I can understand why some Rangers fans would want him back. You think of when Steven Gerrard arrived at the club and what circumstances, and automatically with him driving the club, the standards went up. I think you could see the fans connected with him just because of his playing career. And okay, he won 1 league title in his time, 1 piece of silverware, but he still won a league title. I mean, the others who came before him and after him haven't done that. So it was a success to a certain extent. He did enough in the Rangers' job in European to attract a Premiership club to come and take him, a big one. So you can see why some Rangers fans would want him.
Thank you to Stephen. We'll take more of your calls when we return.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Into the final part, so we're getting closer to the end, but still time to give us a call on tonight's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. What about tomorrow's game as well at Ibrox? We're looking back on today's games. Last night, Thistle fans, how are you feeling? Hearts beat Motherwell 3-0. Lawrence Shanklin looking back to his best. Motherwell did have a goal ruled out at 1-0 down. Here was Michael Vimmer's take.
I heard offside, but I didn't see it on television. But I think we talk each weekend about the referees, about the VAR, so I don't really want to talk about this. My only thing is what I always say, and I say this, but also in Austria and in Germany, if the VAR says something, and if the VAR says, "Hey, come on, I have something to say," then in my opinion it should be a clear mistake. And if then the VAR take 5 minutes and the referee takes 5 minutes again on the monitor, then for me it could not be a clear decision. So this is the only thing I want to say, if it then was offside or not. Please let the referee take the responsibility and say goal or not goal, and yeah, he should be brave enough. Each guy makes mistakes, and no worries, then it was a mistake. But if you need 10 minutes to take a decision, I think is a long time.
Well, do you know what? It's been a great week for those who believe in these things even themselves out across the season, because it had shades of last week at Dens. It's not the exact same. I take his point, it should be clear, but then again it's offside, so really you're just obliged to establish whether it's offside, factually sort of thing. This is a bit muddier because we're talking about a subjective element here, whether there is a player in front of the goalkeeper or not.
I've got a mad idea going round in my mind. There should be a time limit on VAR. If you can't prove something conclusively inside a minute and a half, then you're what are you looking for? If you're then on the balance of probabilities, you're looking for something that isn't there.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. I'd say the only problem, and it is a big one, Mark, is, to be fair, there are going to be times where you're having to check the phase of play, you're having to check a very complex offside in a penalty box that's full of people.
Yeah.
You're then maybe having to check a subjective element about whether somebody has challenged for a ball or whether someone's in the line of the goalkeeper. You can't just abandon those rules because it's taken too long. In many ways, you had to decide this all before. See if VAR's going to do this, then just don't do it. You know what I mean? Don't have it. But whilst it is there, you can't really think, oh well, there we go, 90 seconds up. But if we'd given ourselves 93, you might have spotted an infringement. So it's difficult, to be fair.
Comes like a contestant in a game show. Then the referees are under enough pressure when they've got a clock on them to try and figure out all that Gordon's just mentioned there. I think it is unfair. But for me today, I've seen back the one. Is it Casey? I think Dan Casey. I think he is in the goalkeeper's line of vision there.
Is it not unfair to go the other way, where it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes?
I don't think it's unfair. I think it's rubbish. No. Yeah. But so that's a different thing. That's what I said. You need to almost take them.
Signed up for it. Yeah, you're totally right. That there were no time limits on it, so you have to give. If it's about getting it right or wrong, you have to give them enough time to study the pictures in front of them.
We've seen it back, and right away you know that's got to be ruled for offside. Well, for the player interfering with the goalkeeper.
Those ones are because see if the ball ends up in the other bottom corner.
Yeah,
that goal stands.
I think so.
Wouldn't it be great to have the club's public address system play the countdown music?
So if that's what we need in Scottish football, if that ball goes in the other corner, it stands.
I think so.
So when the ball is struck, I think this is maybe where Michael Vimmer's frustrated. As soon as the ball struck, I don't think Casey is right in front of Craig Gordon, but because the strike goes to Craig Gordon's right, as soon as he starts to move, he maybe then becomes behind him at that point. But over the piece, Gordon. Again, the reason I say it's the shades of last week. Motherwell were beaten today, and they need to take their own responsibility for that, the same way Dundee did last week.
Yeah.
But when these things come at a crucial time in the game, that's when you feel that it maybe could have been different.
I think that's where the frustration comes from the managers. They think, hold on a minute, if we'd have got back level terms, we could have probably kicked on or maybe got a little bit more confidence from that goal. It was ruled out, but you're right, they were comfortably beat today with Hearts. We all looked at the one at Dundee last week. We thought that the referee got it right. I've heard numerous people saying it was a wrong decision. I agree with Hugh slightly. I'm not saying that have to be a clock on it. I think the fans are frustrated. I think VAR needs to be a little bit more decisive and quicker.
Okay, so let's see what else you've got there on 01419511025. I thought we were about to hear from a Thistle fan, Mark Wilson. I thought he was coming on to speak to you, but I don't know where he's disappeared to. Jamie in Maryhill, feel free to call us back, because I thought we had him lined up there, given as maybe it was just his match report from his night out last night to celebrate. Maybe it had nothing to do with the game.
A few of your haunts down there would have been busy last night.
That's the only reason I was going to come.
Just on that game at Tynecastle before we move on, Hugh, it was the only dead rubber we had today, so I don't want to labour the point too much, but interesting that Lawrence Shanklin comes back and scores 2 for the second week in succession.
Well, I don't disagree with Gordon Dale. I do think that players thinking ahead, contract talks or a move elsewhere, and they hit a belated spurt, but he's had a poor season by his own admittedly high standards. He has had a very poor season, and Neil Critchley will be feeling hard done by that. He's now been sacked as Shankland comes back to life, but he's a proven goal scorer, but he's had a poor season, but belatedly now he's doing well for Hearts.
The thing you say there, Hugh, and I know that I can be put up here for an argument. You said he's a proven goal scorer. Why would you then play him in a number 10 role and take him away from the goals?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm obviously not saying it's right because the evidence is there, but it's clearly all built around if you've got this whole notion of you come into your job, you guys know the pressures, and you want the full team to function the way you do. If that revolves around strikers that run in behind, then Lawrence Shanklin can't be one of those guys. I'll repeat it. I'm not saying it's right, but that's clearly the thinking, isn't it?
But the proof's quite simple. He doesn't need to run in behind. He can score goals.
But I'm talking about if you're full. You know what I mean?
If you're looking at how you're going to play,
your full setup revolves around that, then you can't have him in that role. However, you then maybe do need to bite the bullet and say, well, my setup's wrong and I'm going to play to the strengths of the players that I've got here. I do accept
100%.
that.
That's why you've got a manager down the road there in Paisley who is getting all the plaudits in the world, and rightly so. He placed his players' strengths, and that's good management. And Mark will tell you he's in the game just now. You play your players' strengths. You don't try to invent this new system of going, well, I'm going to want to play in behind my pace, but I'll take my top goal scorer who won Player of the Year, scored 30 plus goals, and I'll stick him in the number 10 role. That's poor management for me.
I think, to be fair, there have been times in the past. I remember when Josh Ginnelly was at Hearts that Shanklin did play off the front,
scored plenty of goals.
I don't
in
think
there.
Should be too selective.
I think there was obviously a lack of a link player in there for Hearts as well, or a reliable link player, and I think that's where Shanklin might have suffered, because he probably wanted to play through the middle, but he's been chosen for that job as well for the team. So you get players like that can do a couple of jobs for a team, and he's certainly one. But I do tend to agree with that because the proof is there.
Absolutely. Let's bring in Jamie, who is a Partick Thistle fan. How are you, Jamie? How good was last night?
I'm not bad, guys. How are you?
Good. Do you enjoy it?
It was amazing. Just want to congratulate you, Mark. That was amazing last night.
Cheers, Jamie. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it.
I mean, I don't know if you looked like you enjoyed it. You couldn't see anybody that looked less dull than Gordon Dale. So,
Jamie, leave me out of this. It's nothing to do with me. Have a go.
He's rubbing off on me, Jamie.
He says that was him just being composed, Jamie, and just trying to not get carried away.
Well, hopefully Tuesday and Friday's the same, but the thing I was wanting to ask you is, do you want the job, Mark? Do you think you and Brian?
This is great. I don't think we've ever put him on the spot like this. This is brilliant.
I think.
Come on, here's your big interview.
Listen, big interview. I think anybody that goes into the interim role obviously goes into it with a hope of doing well, to be under consideration. I think Brian and I are no different. That we came in thinking, okay, let's see how it goes, let's stabilise the club, let's try and take it in the right direction, and then if that goes well, then of course would be up for speaking to the club. So there's still a lot to be done, but
has that desire increased based on your experiences
probably,
within it?
Yeah, because I've been there before, and I've been with Airdrie where we were kind of semi-successful in getting to the playoffs, and I've been with Brecon, so I've taken my fair share of defeats in that, and then stepping back and kind of learning a bit more with under 18s has put me in a place that I've enjoyed this past 12 games or 13 games or whatever it is, and feel like I'm probably ready to go back in. But whether that's at Thistle or back to the 18s, whatever the sporting director decides, that's fine for now, but I've certainly enjoyed my time.
Just to let you know, Jamie, all the boys in SuperScoreBoard on a Saturday is desperate for him to get a job. Desperate.
How good was your young left back that obviously played for Mark's 18s, Jamie, and got pitched in last night?
See, as soon as the team comes out, it's one of the ones everybody's going like that. Who's
that?
He? Who's that? Who's this wee guy? And then 5 minutes in, you're going, I give him a 5-year contract.
That's the way it works. And I know obviously he is a young man, and this would be rich coming from me, but particularly baby-faced. That was what was so good about it.
He is.
See, when Brian Graham was lifting him at the end, it looked like his son that he was lifting up.
Well, he is baby-faced, but he can certainly handle himself in the dressing room in terms of the way he speaks and that, so he's got a bit about him as well. But Jamie's been great for, what did I say earlier on, 18 months with me with under 18s.
Which boys club was it?
One over Barhead Way. Right. I can't remember the name, it escapes me.
Does Brian Graham like it when people point out that he's 20 years older than Jamie Lowe?
Yeah, exactly. Brian's getting on, but he's still got plenty of mileage in him. But Jamie, fantastic left foot. He obviously got a lot to learn, but what a way to make your debut away here. Again, big physical players as well. That's the thing you got to remember, because he's used to playing under 18 football and some reserve football, against wingers who are maybe quick and nimble. Here, big physical side, and they stood up to it brilliantly.
Jamie, do you think you can go and finish the job, or does the sort of physical and mental toll of having to go through all of these fixtures worry you?
The mental strength now of the team will take us through it. Just what Mark was saying there, the first thing that Curtis Main done when he came on last night is clatters through the back of the wee man, and you stood up and you seen he's got his wee chicken arms, and you're thinking, he's just a wee boy in the size of Curtis Main, and it didn't even bother him. He just got on with the game. Fantastic.
Well, enjoy it. Tuesday night, is it?
Tuesday night, yeah.
Home first
for Hull, and then Friday night. I love it.
Well, good stuff, Jamie. Thank you for your call. Let's end just by looking forwards. Gordon, the obvious question is how much does Barry Ferguson need or want a home win? It's been the 2nd of February since Rangers last won at home. They welcome Aberdeen tomorrow. He's not been responsible for the entirety of that run, but he's not tasted that victory yet.
That'll hurt him. You know the sort of guy he is. You know he's a Rangers man, as everyone turns round and tells you. The fact that Rangers haven't won a game since February 2nd, did you say there, Gordon? Against an Aberdeen team who've got a little bit of hope now, with Hibs getting beat today, close that gap in third. It will be difficult. I think Barry does not want to leave. If he does leave the interim manager's post, he will not want to leave without winning at Ibrox. He's got an opportunity tomorrow. I think it's 12 o'clock, early afternoon kick-off. I think that Rangers will get that win tomorrow. I really do. I think it'll be a tough game, but I think they'll get it.
Do you give any attention, Hugh, to the fact that it does mean more to Aberdeen than it does to Rangers in terms of a tangible achievement?
Certainly more at stake for Aberdeen. There's nothing at stake other than personal pride for Barry Ferguson. I know he'll go on about the team and performances and so on and so forth, but this is a matter of personal pride for me. Barry Ferguson doesn't want to leave the interim manager's job, never having won at Ibrox, and I think tomorrow will be the day. But this has been the season when you can think all you like about Rangers, they have a nasty habit of letting themselves down. However, I'll finish by saying Aberdeen have won 5 games away from home all season. Dundee have won that number, and they're fighting relegation.
I mean, there would be a slight defence in there, Mark. You can't argue with the facts. However, that run, the only real terrible results have been the Hibs and Motherwell ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because obviously the other ones are European games and Celtic, so you could conceivably not win them. And again, if we're bringing Fenerbahce into the mix, it was actually part of a tie that they won. So the stat maybe sounds just a bit worse than it is, but it's still not great. It's still not great.
It's still not great, because that's what people will hone in on, and for years to come, even when Barry will be associated with the club. So Daz is right. Barry Ferguson will not want that on his watch. And it's not just Barry Ferguson. I know he stands out there and he takes the manager's kind of term, but also Neil McCann and Billy Dodds and Al McGregor and all those, Rangers kind of guys that came to the club. It shows you it's not easy to be a manager in that environment and win games, but he'll certainly not want to leave anything on the table, and particularly with the rivalry Aberdeen and Rangers throughout the year. So that's what makes it a fascinating one tomorrow, but certainly more at stake for Aberdeen and Jimmy Thilleen, because they have got European places and third spot in their sights.
Go on then, Hugh, leave us with your final thoughts looking back on today.
Well, Celtic go to 106 goals for the season. They totally dominate Hibs after going a goal down. And I think that today's team at the kick-off time was 2 players short of the cup final team, Alistair Johnson and Cameron Carter-Vickers. So Brendan Rodgers, well pleased. St Johnstone, not so. They've got to go and fight for their lives midweek and final day of the season.
But they are still alive for now. St Johnstone, some big results across the country today, a big game to come tomorrow, and whatever happens there, we will reflect on it all Monday night from 6 o'clock, so make sure you join us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for listening. The GBX is up next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Trywire.com. Save like a world-class keeper. Get a great price on your next car.
This one goes out to all you bingo lovers from takeabreakbingo.co.uk. B-I-N-G-O. We're your smash hit home for big winning bingo and weekly quiz nights. Or maybe we'll see you for some free bingo in our exclusive guest list room. Take it away, girls. B-I-N-G-O. Chat and play at takeabreakbingo.co.uk. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleWare.org.